If you've ever told a Wall Street analyst and Tesla bull to shut up, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is the Wednesday, July 9th edition. We're going to talk about all the news that's going on. We're going to talk about SPY. We're going to get set up for the market here today. We're going to hit hump day with force. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Wednesday, July 9th starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Hope you all had a wonderful Tuesday evening, and I hope that your Wednesday so far is treating you well. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today, and congrats to anyone that played PROK yesterday. What a massive mover, 500+%. After that initial pullback, I remember saying, I'm going to take this off the screen and we'll see if it turns around here maybe in the afternoon to get some volume. Well, boy, did it ever. Monster shout out to Smoke Tuna for calling that right at the support. Really, really good stuff. The other one yesterday was Intel. I had said earlier, 23 to 24 looks good on Intel. That's exactly what we did. I don't know if we get any continuation today, but hopefully some of y'all made some money off of that yesterday. We're going to find some new plays here today. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Mama Bear bought Kodak. What's Kodak doing here? All right, so bought Kodak yesterday. That spiked. Looked like on some news. Daily chart actually looks pretty good. You know what I'm going to do, Mama Bear? We are adding Kodak to the list. We'll take a look at that. Good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Chance to do the hump. It is hump day. We do that every Wednesday. Welcome back, Crimp Biscuit. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Shanlu Trading, good morning. Jim, good morning. July 9th is finally here. Indeed, the day is finally here. S&P futures here in the pre-market up 0.2%. Dow futures up 0.23%. And NASDAQ up just shy of 0.2%. So far, I mean, obviously we'll see what happens throughout the course of the day, but so far market's pressing to open a little bit higher, and the daily chart on SPY, which we're going to look at here in a sec, looks like it wants to go higher. We'll see if we get that carry through. Jim, good morning. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Let's see what's moving today. We got a lot of stuff. Yeah, so fine. It is a very good morning. Better now that you're here. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Chuck, good morning. Charles, good morning. It's good to see you. Pete, good morning. Jane, good morning. Sanshika, good morning. I love that name. Bernhard, welcome back. Good morning. Day Traders locked in. ATL Russ locked in. Good morning. Ryan, good morning. Harley, Captain Cloudy, and EKS. Good morning. Hoot, Jonathan, and Durkus, good morning. Cad, Kel, and Glass Half Full, good morning. Javon, Graf, Ryan, and Empyrean, good morning. Kel, good morning, says, I did thanks to this channel. That's got to be on PROK or Intel. Let's go. That's what I want to hear. I haven't seen Kershing yet, but we'll get the registering anyway. Zach, good morning. Welcome back. Quantum, good morning. Tyler, good morning. Could we please take a look at ALB? Yes, we can. ALB, one of the stocks I think actually thought earlier might make a comeback. Yeah, let me add that to the list. I've been watching it on a 3-month chart, and it's starting to break an ascending triangle. Okay, we'll do that. Ryan says, I'm still in PROK. What's your exit plan on that? Rooster, good morning. Scott, good morning. Izzy, good morning. Izzy, got a story here on Amazon. Bezos selling some shares. Golden Cross. Love to know what the plan is today on Amazon. We're going to talk about that here shortly. Good morning, boss, on the early train here today. C-Dub, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Cold Cup, good morning. Our Twitter viewers are locked in. I love it. Mercenary, good morning. Benjamin, good morning. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. There's Kerching. We're going to get another one. We're just going to start it off awesome today. Sassy Butterfly Chick, good morning. All right, LMT and HAL have been profitable. The defense names have been pretty good. Actually, I've got a story about that too. White Chocolate Mocha. Okay, let's dive right in. Let's get started here today. We are going to have Tim Melvin here today, so we're going to be able to do that as well. Here's a look at your SPY chart. Now, we're still holding higher here. Yesterday, basically what we did is we held 620. So if we take a look inside yesterday and we zoom out, you can see that these moves down really just held 620. So very tight range, low volume. The The market seems to be telling me that the jitters about tariffs much more relaxed this time than around the beginning of April. I understand that we're in the summer, trading volumes are a little bit light, but the behavior here of the market sure seems like they just don't care as much. Or at least that they're not reacting to it as much. Anyway, with the SPY here, we'll see where we end up going here today. I want to see if we can actually break some of these highs. I don't know if we're going to have the strength to do that today. As far as the economic data prints here today, wholesale inventories at 10, crude and gas data at 10:30, the 10-year note auction at 1, and then the FOMC minutes at 2. Now, I'm not expecting to necessarily learn anything out of that, but we should at least have it on our radar here. So we'll see here on SPY, looking pretty good. Let's go over to the morning update. As mentioned, market is set to open higher here by just a little bit. We just went over some of the economic data to expect as well. As far as the company events, there's really nothing here today. It's just that Leerink Partners Therapeutics Forum where AQST, I guess, is going to be presenting. So maybe throw that on the watch list. As far as IPOs here today, it looks like we've got two. DLXY, Delixi Holdings, this priced between 4 and 5 yesterday, set to IPO here today. And GTER, Global Terra Acquisition, priced at 10. That is set to IPO here today. Now, as far as the initiations, there are some interesting ones in here. First three here are going to be energy. Bloom Energy got an overweight from JP Morgan, price target 33. Ticker BE is $26 right now. Sunrun, ticker RUN, solar has been really kind of beaten down. This actually got a hold from Jefferies, an $11 price target. Stock is at 10.18 here. Enphase Energy, another solar name here. This down about just shy of 4% here this morning. This got a sell rating from Goldman Sachs and a $32 price target. So it looks like based on the price target, still some more downside to go there. Solar Edge here, SEDG also getting a neutral rating there from Goldman with a $27 price target. That's pretty much right at the target right now. Philip Morris and Altria, they're on here. Philip Morris got a buy. Altria got an underperform. I'll just avoid both of those. We talked about some of the downgrades there. Also, Brown-Forman, I think this is the company that makes Woodford Reserve. They got a neutral rating here from Redburn, $30 price target. And then the big one here is the Microsoft upgrade to outperform, $600 price target. That's from Oppenheimer. That's 100 points away from where we're at right now. So they definitely see some more upside there in Microsoft. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with the broader market here, macro news, if you will. President Trump announced 50% tariff on copper imports. Again, this is kind of going back to the market seeming to take more of these things in stride. Obviously, we've got some more to go here, and it definitely seemed like market participants were waiting to see what happened here today, so maybe we'll get some more clear movement there. Nonetheless, he announced 50% tariff on copper imports and confirmed the reciprocal tariffs paused in April will resume on August 1st, stating, quote, no extension will be granted, end quote, to countries without finalized deals by that date. The 10-year yielded 4.41 and the 2-year was at 3.90. Still want those to come in a little bit. We mentioned a little bit Pro Kidney, PROK, just a massive, massive move. This still sitting here at what, 494, it looks like in the pre-market. Massive 515% move yesterday. Grats to everybody that was able to get some gains on that one. Jeffrey Bookbinder here, chief equity strategist from LPL Financial, forecasted modest gains for equities in his mid-year outlook. Quote, AI-driven CapEx remains a key tailwind, but tariff-related earnings pressure and elevated valuations may cap the upside. Pullbacks should be viewed as selective buying opportunities. Now, that part here, this seems pretty straightforward. It's clear that market participants have been conditioned to buy the dip. And we actually had Anne Marie talking about that as early as yesterday. And so it looks like, Buckbinder here is saying, yeah, maybe don't buy everything that dips, maybe be a little bit selective, but still looks to be in buy the dip mode. LPL's year-end S&P 500 target range was set at 6,000 to 6,100. So we're actually above that right now, based on $275 in 2026 EPS. Meanwhile, the senior economist at Wisdom Tree, Jeremy Siegel, said that, quote, equity markets found encouragement not because employment showed strength, but because it did not show further deterioration. Talking about AI, he said, quote, companies able to leverage AI for productivity gains, particularly in financials and traditional industries, are poised to outperform. So AI is still going to be one of the big driving catalysts here for the market. Frankly, I don't think anyone should be surprised by that. We're kind of ready for that. We've been playing that already. Siegel also stated that he will be closely watching for a potential shift in market leadership. Some of the rotation that we've talked about, maybe we'll actually see a new market leader here. Quote, July has opened strongly for small caps, but I believe the stage is set for a longer lasting rotation, end quote. Your lips to God's ears, Jeremy. I will take if small caps lead for any sustained period of time, that is likely to be really, really awesome. And I am here for that. No doubt about it. If users begin to invest in cost-saving technologies under the pressure of higher tariffs or wage costs, value could finally have its day. How many fundamentalists and value players out there have really kind of been taken aback? PE hasn't really meant anything. It'd be great to see value make a return too. This would really just kind of broaden out the list of targets that we can go after, and actually should make swing trading a little bit easier. A little bit hesitant to say that because I don't want to jinx anything, but that's kind of how I feel here. Crude oil futures were trading lower in the early New York session by about 0.5%, hovering around 68.68. Let's see where we're at right now on that. Yeah, 68.63, so we're a little bit lower than that. The gold spot US dollar fell 0.37% to hover around 3,289 per ounce. So that still continues to trade sideways or slightly down. And Hong Kong's Hang Seng, Australia, and China's indices fell. Europe markets were higher in early trade. Okay, next stock here. We talked a little bit. Let me go back to the actual chart here. We told you about the Microsoft upgrade there, $600 price target from Oppenheimer. Here's what the chart looks like. You can see we're actually very extended from the 200-day. This, I don't necessarily think that this is one to chase. Personally, I tend to think that this might be an ad on a pullback. And frankly, if we could pull back anywhere to this 460, 450 area, that would be awesome. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but that would be awesome for a potential trade. Even a pullback to the 20, even if it's temporary, that might provide some entry here on Microsoft. But wanted to get to the story here. Microsoft Replit team up to bring, quote, vibe coding to enterprise. Now it's a strategic partnership with Replit on Tuesday that will democratize software development across enterprise teams through vibe coding, an artificial intelligence-powered approach that enables employees to build applications using natural language without coding expertise. So let me get through the next paragraph here, and I'll give you some commentary on it. The collaboration integrates Replit's agentic development platform with Microsoft's Azure infrastructure, allowing business users in sales, marketing, and operations to create production-ready software by simply describing their needs in plain English. Replit CEO Amjad Masad said that the partnership marks, quote, an exciting new chapter, end quote, in enterprise software creation. Now, this isn't just kind of serendipitous, if you ask me, in terms of the timing here, because over the last couple of days while working out, I've actually been listening to the Joe Rogan podcast where he interviews Amjad. And it's nothing, he doesn't necessarily reference Microsoft or anything like that, but the entire podcast is very, very interesting. This entire idea of being able to code without needing any type of coding experience or expertise, basically just allowing anyone that can speak English to have AI help you write code. One of the things that he was saying here is that this really could be a huge, huge shift in the future, because basically it turns anyone into an entrepreneur. It's his thought that, like a lot of people, that as AI proliferates, especially exponentially, there's going to be a ton of job losses and open jobs as AI replaces some of these lower level and then also white collar jobs. They were citing surveys there about how most people, when polled privately, say that about 50% of their daily tasks are automated, which kind of leaves the door open to AI really filling that need and making some of these humans less and less valuable. It's his thought, though, that this can kind of represent a shift. Joe has always talked about you need to have something that's driving you. Joe's been a big fan of universal basic income, which I completely disagree with. But this seems to set up a situation where wherever you work, or if you just have an idea about how to make something better, and it doesn't have to be business related, you could like fishing. And maybe you can come up with a code that sources online phishing articles or something like that to determine where hotspots are, or something of that nature. The whole point here is that anyone can develop a software solution, and that actually might create more entrepreneurs as opposed to someone that's just working a remedial 9-to-5 job or something like that. I will say that while I was listening to this, I started thinking about my own position, and I'm not sure that AI can really replace me. Let me know if you guys would rather have an AI avatar up here than a human being. I hope I don't regret asking you that. But nonetheless, if this is at all interesting to you, coding AI, the shift to AI, possible job losses, this podcast is actually a pretty interesting one. It actually made me think about some things that I hadn't thought of before. And then I saw this story this morning, and I was like, wow, that timing is pretty good. So anyway, sorry for the side rant there. Amjad goes on to say, now every team member, not just engineers, can turn ideas into software with the Replit agent. No code required. The platform already serves over 500,000 business users, building everything from internal tools to customer-facing applications. Vibe coding represents a fundamental shift in software development coined by computer scientist Andrej Karpathy in February of 2025. This methodology prioritizes a code-first, refine-later approach with human oversight, enabling rapid prototyping and iterative development cycles that will align with agile frameworks. This also leads me to believe that there's going to be an entire new class of job for those that are able to work with AI tools, refine different things that are created, prompt effectively, and just be able to kind of extract the most benefit for real world applications out of some of these AI tools. I wholeheartedly believe that. I really think that anyone right now, regardless of their age, if you're looking for a career change or if you're looking for a new tool to add to your toolbox, something involved with AI, even if it's as simple as learning how to prompt effectively, might actually open up some doors for you. And I anticipate that this is going to exponentially increase as we start to see some success from that. We'll see. The partnership comes as Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella revealed that AI now writes 20 to 30% of the company's code base, reflecting broader industry adoption of AI-assisted development. Meta and CEO Mark Zuckerberg predict half of his company's future development will be AI generated within a year. Man. 3D, good morning. Nice to see you again. Humans will become the creators. That's my hope. I hope to be able to continue to create things and make people think about things that they wouldn't otherwise. Zach saying, just turn yourself into a hot chick avatar. That would work. I know that you're kind of joking here, but I am just a tad embarrassed that if I just made myself a hot chick avatar, we would probably double up the views. We're gonna keep it real around these parts. As long as I'm around, we're gonna keep it real. We're not gonna do any of that stuff. Quote, our collaboration with Replit democratizes application development, enabling business teams across enterprises to innovate and solve problems without traditional technical barriers. Replit maintains SOC 2 Type 2 compliance, easy for me to say, and enterprise-grade security controls adjusting corporate governance requirements. The platform targets two primary use cases: rapid prototyping for product and design teams, and internal tool development for operational departments where traditional SaaS solutions fall short. The partnership supports Microsoft's broader AI strategy, which generated $13 billion in annual revenue, growing 175% year over year. The company continues investing $80 billion in AI data centers while implementing cost controls, including 9,000 recent job cuts, representing less than 4% of its workforce. Forward-thinking companies like Zillow, which also actually has a pretty attractive chart, already use Replit for rapid prototyping and custom business solutions, demonstrating enterprise demand for accessible developments. development tools that bypass traditional technical bottlenecks. So I think that the runway for this is long. I'm not necessarily sure or 100% sure where this is going to end, but I definitely see more software solutions being created by more just individuals as opposed to giant conglomerates. That's kind of where I think this is going to play out. But we'll see. Okay, one more story here before we get to Tim Melvin, everyone's favorite guest. We're gonna go with Amazon. Now, I got the story here about Jeff Bezos, but let's actually start with the chart because, as mentioned earlier, today's our golden cross. Today is our golden cross. So we did actually have this death cross. Let's get that date. That was back here on April 21st. Okay, so it's not that much longer until we've golden crossed, but here it is. Now, Amazon is still holding above its 20-day moving average. We're kind of sitting right against this 223 area, and I think you might find out why here in a sec. But we're holding above the 20-day moving average, and we're now getting a golden cross here today, so it'll be interesting to see if this plays out. By the way, RSI, not overbought yet. And Williams percent R, not crazy overbought. So we're still doing all right there. Let's get to the story here. Jeff Bezos offloads nearly $666 million in Amazon stock, adds to his post-wedding sell-off streak. According to a Form 4 submitted by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Tuesday, Bezos disposed of roughly 2.9 million shares in the e-commerce giant across two transactions dated July 3 and July 7 at an average price of $223.73 and $223.92 per share. The transactions were executed under a prearranged Rule 10.5-1 trading plan adopted in March, which essentially is designed to allow corporate insiders to sell shares at predetermined times and volumes without raising concerns of insider trading. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I know sometimes we take a look at insider buys and sells. In fact, Tim, who's about to come on here, has reminded us numerous times that there's 8 million different reasons why you would sell and only one why you would buy. And it definitely appears that his star-studded $50 million wedding to Lauren Sanchez probably required some stock selling there. I wouldn't panic, though. We'll get down to it here. He still owns just under 10% of the company. I think that's in here. Let me keep going here with this, though. Following the transaction, Bezos still holds over 902 million shares in Amazon. That's not a typo, or just under 10% of its total outstanding shares, worth 197 billion at current market prices. It's just eye-popping numbers. This comes just week after Bezos tied the knot with longtime partner Lauren Sanchez in a star-studded $50 million wedding in Venice 2 weeks ago. Over a week ago, Bezos sold another tranche of the company's shares worth 737 million as part of the same prearranged trading plan. Maybe the wedding came in at a cost under what he predicted. Imagine that. According to a 10Q filing made in May, Bezos plans to sell shares worth $5 billion in the company through May of 2026, aimed at funding his space exploration company Blue Origin, alongside other ventures and charitable organizations. Bezos' net worth currently stands at $240 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaire Index, with his holdings in Amazon making up a significant chunk of it. The rest comes from his ownership of Blue Origin, which is marked on cost of investment basis. Amazon here actually has some pretty good ratings in our Benzinga proprietary rankings that Tim talks about a lot, really high on the growth score there and kind of middle of the road there in momentum, value, and quantity. All price trends checked green. Short, medium, and long-term, all positive here for Amazon. So, Izzy, I throw it back to you. What's the plan here for Amazon? Amazon, I know yesterday we had a failed scalp on it, but actually after that morning pull, it was down to 218 and change. Am I getting that right? Yes, 218 and a half just about on that morning pull. We bounced a little bit, and then we just kind of held that level the rest of the day. So I'm wondering here today, maybe we do get another pullback, maybe not with the market being up here in the pre-market, but maybe there's a trade here in Amazon, and with this Bezos sells out of the way, maybe that opens Amazon for going a little bit higher. Sorry, I was sharing the wrong screen there like a total idiot. Anyway, there we go. Pete, we'll take this. Bezos is only slightly less flush than 13. We'll ask Tim. Maybe Tim is more flush than Bezos. Speak of the devil. Let's go ahead and talk to Tim. Tim, good morning. How are you today?
We are very good, Ryan. How is everything out there in the Chicago suburb land?
It's good.
Good.
It's good. Yeah, sun shining. Actually, we got a little bit of a respite from the extreme heat that we've been having recently. It came down to 80s and felt great. So
Okay.
I'll take it.
Well, there you go. Well, and Amazon. I mean, Jeff Bezos selling 600 million. I mean, can that really be a shock or a surprise? I mean, he just spent a ton of money on that wedding.
Yeah.
He's not actively running the company day to day, so you can't blame the guy for let's sell and let's diversify. I don't think what he did has a big statement about Amazon's business at all. I'd be more shocked if at this point in his life he wasn't starting to regularly doing the Bill Gates thing and selling a ton of stock.
Yeah.
And is meaningless because Gates been doing that for decade or more, and it's had no impact whatsoever on the price of Microsoft stock. So I would not read too much into that. And remember, last week we talked about the insider buying study that had come out, and I did some follow up work on that this week, and it's pretty cool because they used the definition of under and overvalued. The big factor in it was share issuance, and what they found was that insider buying and insider selling work in totally different time frames. And when you get a big insider sell in a company that's a serial issuer of stock, the number of shares is constantly going up by a significant number. That usually self corrects to a lower valuation almost immediately. It's a great short term indicator, particularly when that's a cluster of insider selling. Insider buying is for patient people. Generally speaking, you're going to get a much larger return off an insider buy because, as we said, there's only one reason to write that check, right? But that does tend to take longer periods of time. And again, particularly, you're looking for stocks with strong financials that are not serial issuers of stock. That was a big criteria in that particular study that we talked about briefly last week. And Amazon tends to buy back just enough stock each year to offset their stock option grants. So looks good in the headlines, but they're not really an aggressive serial issuers. I really wouldn't read too much into the Bezos sale here.
Yeah, okay. I mean, my only thought here is that if there's a big seller that's now removed, that kind of opens this up to go higher. We'll see if we get that. Chart looks constructive.
He sold 600 million?
Yeah, 666 million for those that are superstitious.
That's not a big seller in Amazon.
Well, okay. Okay. It seems big to me, but point
right. That's the funds will scoop that up in less than a day. So that's it seems like a big number to you and I, but we don't live in rare air those folks.
Yeah, I don't rent out Venice for parties and weddings, so I can't really relate, to be honest.
So next up, a really cool study this week from the people at Research Affiliates. That's Rob Arnott's firm. They do an amazing job, and they work with Campbell Harvey from Duke University on this study. And what they looked at, what they call anti-value stocks. This is a very cool study because it plays into, you can always tell how brilliant someone is by how much they agree with me. That's like the gold standard.
That's a good quote.
And this feeds into something I've complained about a lot. When you look at the growth and value indexes, what they do is they take stocks by value rankings, composite value ranking, price to book, price to earnings, price to free cash flow, and they split it in half, right? The bottom half is value. The top half is growth. Well, first off, the bottom half of the Russell 2000, you end up with NVIDIA in the growth index from time to time. So it's not really, in the value index, it's not really reflecting true value investing, which is there's a lot more to the valuations on that. But then in the growth portion of the indexes, that's going to be your higher multiple stocks, right? Well, just because you have a higher multiple does not mean that you're a growth stock, i.e., Colgate Palmolive, a perfect example of this. Colgate, it's a blue chip, no question about that. We've all got about 20 Colgate Palmolive products in our house.
Mm-hmm.
They're growing sales at about 3-4% a year. I'm not going to call that a growth stock. Over the last 12 months, they've grown sales by less than 1%. Over the last several years, it's low single digit. That's not a growth stock, but Colgate does sport a 26 price to earnings ratio. So, it's not a growth stock. It's a blue chip, but it's not a growth stock. You can say the same thing for Cisco Systems. Low single digit sales growth.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Increasingly, you could say it about Apple because Apple's revenues have really slowed down. So, whatever you want to call these companies, they're not growth stocks. They're blue chip stocks. They're consumer uh, non-durables, I guess. You're always going to be buying Colgate stuff. The routers and everything are always going to be a part of the world. You're always going to be ordering Domino's pizza, but short of discovering another universe, they're not going to be growing revenues or profits at a really high rate of return. So to put them in a growth index, really kind of misleading. So what the team at Arnott did is they said, look, let's look at actual fundamental growth. We're going to steal a page out of Tim Melvin's book, and we're actually, instead of just looking to price and a bunch of static indicators, we're going to look at actual fundamentals. So what they did is they looked at actual fundamentals, growth in sales, top of chart here. They looked at growth in profits, growth in R&D spending. They used no subjective forecasts in this study, which is important. Analysts, I know a lot of stock analysts, and they're really nice guys. Okay, most of them, they're great guys, and they mean you no harm, I guess is the best way to put it. But they're not all that accurate when it comes on to these long-term forecasts. That is almost impossible. Now, you think about a stock market analyst making a 5-year forecast 3 years ago, right? Donald Trump is still kind of in disgrace, right? There's no way anybody thinks this guy is going to come back and run for president again, much less win, right? Or that he would go into a hard terrorist policy. Or that Putin would invade Ukraine. That all of these things would happen, correct? So there's no way of knowing this. So how are you going to model earnings out 5 and 10 years for these ridiculous growth estimates? So Arnott and his team in this study used none of that stuff. Okay. So, and yes, both of those companies have some pricing power, EKS, Colgate, and Cisco. That doesn't make them growth stocks. Okay. It makes them great blue chip companies that probably should be paying a higher dividend because that's where most of the return is going to come from. But that's just my opinion. It's right, but it's just my opinion. So no estimates, just actual corporate performance. So they avoid any exposure to the slow growth companies. And by the way, I'm just doing this on domestic, not international stocks. Okay. There were lots of excess returns to the growth companies. Fast growing companies at lower multiples of earnings did a little better than fast growing companies at high multiples. But slow growth and cheap still had tiny excess returns, but slow growth and expensive, no bueno, no hope, no excess returns. They did what the index did. And if you go back and you look at the Colgates and the Procter and Gambles, they do what the index does. And increasingly, that's going to become very true of Walmart as it's climbing now up. And everybody says, well, Walmart's done well. Yeah, Walmart started from a really low multiple and climbed higher. So once these things begin to get fully priced, there's not a big return opportunity there, and you're making an index bet. So I thought that was very interesting, and it brought me to something that I've talked about for a long time, and it's a definition that I coined years ago, true growth. And the best measure of true growth, to build on this study by Arnott and his team, is two factors, Ryan, and just two. And it's all you need to determine the very best growth stocks. It's revenue growth and book value growth. Oh, wait a minute, Tim. Book value, that's old fashioned. Nobody gives a crap about book value. It's Ben Graham and Warren Buffett. Take that stuff and go away. It's boring. I understand that you guys don't want to do price to book value. It will make you so much money, but I get it. You guys are allergic to money if it took you longer than an hour to make it. I'm down with that. But just, obviously joking. Please don't nail me up on the wall there.
I can tell.
Yeah. So that's the only two numbers. And like, why? Well, what about this? And what about that? And what about expenses and taxes and interest? Who cares? Okay. Once the dollar comes into the door, what does management do with it? Right. So we're only going to take that very top line revenue. Everything between that and that very bottom line of the balance sheet, we're going to ignore. Because whatever these guys do with the dollar, if they do brilliant stuff and they invest it wisely and they spend it wisely and they hire great talent and they use debt properly and they manage their expenses and they do all great stuff, it's going to come all the way down here to the bottom line and the value of the business is going to grow. Now, if they piss this money away and they spend it unwisely and they make terrible investments or they issue way too many shares of stock, to grant themselves options or for whatever reason and dilute the value of the equity, then this number is not going to grow. So this number says I've got something that people like to buy. They want to buy. I can sell a lot of it. So the top line. Bottom line, I've done smart stuff with all of this money. I've controlled my cost. I've hired the right people. I've made the right investments. I haven't wasted the shareholders' money. And I've been judicious about how I manage debt and my equity account. And as a result, my company is worth more today than it was yesterday. So those are the only two numbers that you really have to worry about. Okay. Sales growth, book value growth. So Tim, does it work? Well, would I be talking about it if it didn't, folks? I mean, come on. Yes, it does work. It's what I'm looking for. It is not for the faint of heart by any stretch of anybody's imagination. But if you look at your current holdings, it's going to be, and here's why I define it as true growth. It's Datadog. It's Arista Networks. It's NVIDIA. It's Supermicro. Do you guys recognize any of these names?
All of them.
Yeah, CrowdStrike, Monolithic Power Systems, Zscaler, IES Holdings, Comfort Systems, Trade Desk, and Legacy Education. Very cool story there. But when you look at these, they've got very high revenue growth rates. And when you come down to the bottom line is also growing at a very high rate. So they've sold a whole bunch of the stuff, or they've had pricing power where they could continually raising prices. They're bringing revenue in at an ever increasing rate all of the time. All right. But they're taking the money and they're not wasting it. They do not have a bloated expense structure. They're not a commodity company where raw materials are just, a rapidly changing and fluctuating part of the equation. They're not issuing too much stock that it dilutes the value of the equity account. Mm-hmm. So got a good idea, selling lots of it, not pissing away my shareholders' money. So the value of the company is going up at a very high rate as well. Just those two numbers give you what I call the true growth formula. And to say that this works is something of an understatement. To say that it's just a tick volatile is also a bit of an understatement. And this is kind of a trader's dream. If you rebalance this thing monthly, unlevered, no options, no nothing, you're seeing months. Back in 2020 in April, you had a 25% month, followed by a string of double-digit months. You are going to occasionally see 10% down months. In January of 2002, as interest rates begin to go up, we had an 18% down month. So this, like all high-return strategies, is not for the faint of heart. Right? There is no such thing as a super high-return strategy that is not volatile. Anybody that's peddling you one should be immediately punched in the face. And if you also have a high volatile system, you'll be making enough money there to pay for the lawyer that you're going to need because you punched the guy in the face.
Don't punch people, guys.
But anyway, look, it's a great strategy. When it's a very concentrated strategy. You're never running more than 17, 18 stocks at a time in the portfolio. And you do have to, you're going to have a little bit of volatility. But if you put this together, make volatility work for you, maybe add a little leverage to the mix in a period of time after a big down month, I think that you can turn this into a supercharged system that would outperform just about anything else out there. So this was that's number one cool idea for the week. Just watching my time here because I don't want to get to eat up all your time like I usually do.
You're good.
The other one that we came up that I've been following closely is some research out of the University of Florida on using ETFs for hedging purposes. And originally this was a horrible idea. I can remember Louis Navellier did a bunch of work on this back, like 2009, 2010. And it worked until it didn't. And he tried to use volatility adjusting. Initially, it worked very well. And then it just kind of stopped and the idea got abandoned. But this professor at the University of Florida has come back and he's like, you can take these ETFs and now you've got the inverse on steroids, right? So you can use the 1-to-1 or you can use the 2-to-1 or the 3-to-1 and begin to very cost effectively hedge equity portfolios. Now, we've been doing a lot of work on this kind of in-house. By we, I mean me. Occasionally the cat drops by, the dog's usually in here. So we've had the real brain trust on this. And this does work. And you've got to find your right mix of where are you going to put the hedge on? Because there's a school of thought that says, well, I'm not going to put the hedge on until we go below the 200-day moving average. Generally speaking, that's not a bad idea. You're going to get a little bit of whipsaw when you use the 200-day moving average. There's another school of thought that says that you put the hedge on when you have a very overbought reading on a weekly chart. And I see a lot of value in that one personally, but we're testing it all because this and the leverage concepts, I think that's the next frontier for what I call patient aggressive investors. I know that Al Frank used the leverage strategy incredibly successfully during his very long investment career running this prudent speculator. I know that, Shelby Cullum Davis used leverage with unbelievable excess for a very long period of time and turned $47,000, his wife's inheritance, into over $900 million over about 45 years, which is pretty impressive. I don't think I have 45 years left, but, if we can figure out ways to use leverage and hedging using ETFs to supercharge returns, well, we're going to go ahead and keep studying that. And of course, we'll report back to you. But this study just kind of confirmed the direction that we were going in with this. And then another one from Rob Arnott and his team. And this is going to sound vaguely familiar. And again, you can tell Arnott and his guys are brilliant. I mean, they're some of the smartest guys walking around on the planet because they're doing a lot of the same work I am and coming to the same conclusions. So glad to have you aboard, guys. They must be subscribers. Now, the small cap universe right now trades at a discount relative to U.S. large caps that is it's in the bottom 4th percentile since 1990. It's ridiculously cheap compared to small caps. Now, the problem with small caps is that whole idea that small caps always outperform large caps. We went ahead and threw that out the window about 5 years ago because it's just not true. And what's happened over time, now originally it did, and it worked for all the reasons that they told you. Small caps grew faster, a new product or a new idea in a small company had much more impact than a large company. Institutional money coming in and buying a small company pushed it higher. What that did, Ryan, was it made it easier for small companies to issue equity and to become public companies because we're small companies do better. You should buy our stock. And that was a very popular story. And we bought it because we all like to buy popular stuff. And then, of course, we had SPACs. Now, we did a little bit of damage with SPACs in 2007. And then, because nobody on the planet understands SPACs except for the 10 to 15 firms that buy them all and will not explain to you what they're doing or why they're doing it. In case you don't know, SPACs are not a pre-IPO trade. They're not some growth stock trade. It's an arbitrage trade. That's all it is. That's all it ever was. They use the mechanism of taking garbage companies public to create an outsized arbitrage. If you know how to do it and you're looking for high single digit, low teen returns with pretty much non-existent risk, it's a fantastic strategy. However, it exploits the public willingness to get in there and buy garbage with a good story.
I was just going to say, it just that got abused.
Oh,
that got abused to no end.
And I'm not gonna complain because I made a ton of money off of it.
Okay, that works.
To be honest, in 2007, I'd have been in the unemployment line. It was my last year as a broker. Nothing was cheap. Banks were at 2.5 times earnings. Nothing was cheap. If it was cheap, it was very low quality, and you didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then I discovered, thanks to a hedge fund manager friend of mine, SPAC arbitrage. I was like, oh my God, where's this been all my life? So I did SPAC arbitrage for my larger clients because you had to have a little wait to get the larger allocations of the SPAC IPOs. And then, of course, in 2020, it went ballistic. It just went absolutely nuts. And if you went in and you looked at, okay, who's buying these things? It was Apollo. It was all the big arbitrage firms. It was Saba Capital. It was Bulldog. It was AQR Arbitrage. It was Jane Street. And you just wonder, why are these guys buying these garbage companies? And if you didn't take time to figure that out and you bought into all the really cool stories about awful companies, you got crushed because all of them, they went from the $10, the deal got closed, they went to $1 if you were lucky. So, but what we did in the process of doing all this, and the point of the story, I got sidetracked. Fortunately, that doesn't happen often, right?
No, no, you're normally right on.
We issued a lot of garbage and we put it down into the small cap universe. So you went from what were a legitimate pool of small companies to a pool of companies that were, there's a lot of garbage in there. Like over half of the Russell 2000 is not profitable. Okay. You've got a whole bunch of zombie companies in the Russell 2000 that if they could not continue to roll over and extend their debt and issue stock, they couldn't make their interest payments, much less keep the lights on.
Bingo.
Okay. So this study bears out exactly what I've talked about for a very long time. You've got to get rid of the garbage. There's a lot of garbage out there, and there's different tools for using it in banks. And no, I'm not going to tell you that one. I'll sell it to you. If
you're good at something, never do it for free.
Right. I will tell you that in this, you can weed out a lot of the garbage using, particularly the undervalued small cap companies, using the Piotrowski F-score. That gets rid of a lot of garbage. If you want to be completely garbage free, what you do is you run a screen for small cap stocks that are trading at reasonable prices. You can do this on growth stocks too. I just happen to be addicted to value for the most part, but this would actually work also on growth stocks. So we want to run enterprise value to earnings before interest and taxes of 10 or less, Piotrowski F-score of 8 or better. All right, and just take a look at what we get. And now we've gotten rid of the garbage. We used a $2 billion market cap. This thing, like it's like Recon Platoon in Heartbreak Ridge. It kicks butt. Okay. So you look at the companies, right? Here's Bluebird, BLBD. Bluebird is like this fantastic company that nobody's paying any attention to. It's 9.9 times earnings. They make school buses. Okay. Now, what you have to understand is they are the leader in electric school buses. But they also make just the regular diesel school buses. So we got two things going on here. One, the age of the school bus fleet that your child is riding to school every day is old. Now, I know a lot of people back in Maryland that had school bus companies. They're on a really long replacement cycle, particularly the diesel ones, because they're easy to repair and pretty easy to keep on the road for a long period of time. There's an aging out of the fleet going on. They're going to have to be replaced. So whether you sell diesel or electric, it doesn't matter. You're going to be buying school buses. That's good for Bluebird. However, Bluebird, leader in electric school buses. Now, this is where you got to take your politics and you got to throw them aside. They don't matter. This is about money. You can argue politics down at the bar later. Okay. Bluebird, I don't care if you like electric vehicles. Cities and towns and municipalities and states all over the United States love electric vehicles, and they're not spending their own money. They're spending taxpayer money.
Yeah.
They haven't figured out it's theirs yet. Another century or two, we'll get there. But there is a leaning towards electric school buses for a lot of reasons. And, I'm never going to give up my internal combustion engine, but let's be realistic in that as electric vehicles get better and the battery technology gets better, they're going to continue to grow again. And eventually they'll be competitive without tax incentives. Okay. But in the trucking side and in the school bus and the public transportation side, we're already there.
Yeah, and I was going to say here, this to me seems obvious, right? Like in major cities, like here in Chicago, you'll already see some of the bus fleet as electric vehicles. Zach here saying green buses are great for cities and mass transportation.
Yes.
Frankly, that's where it makes the most amount of sense. I am entirely unsurprised to see that school buses would go the same route as some of the regular public transportation in city centers.
Yeah. So this is a small cap company. It's really high quality, fantastic return. 73% return on equity. They got to work on that number. It's not high. No, listen,
it's pretty good.
These guys are doing everything right. They're winning business. They're winning bids. The earnings are growing. It's right now they're the always highly accurate Wall Street analysts are seeing 8 to 10% growth over the next 5 years, and that's okay because you're not paying for it at these multiples. I think it's actually going to be a little bit better than that because I think we're going to figure out that we can't let China get too far ahead of us in the electric vehicles race. And the way the legislation that was recently written, it does allow that. So I think you'll see some tweaks to that going forward, especially for mass transportation. Okay. So Bluebird, even if they build the yellow diesel buses, hey, they make those. If we build yellow electric buses, they make those too, and they're a leader. So BLBD absolutely fits into this new and improved small cap model that we're talking about.
Real quick question here for 13. He hasn't made it on the show yet, but he got a question for you. Good morning, Tim. Do the copper tariffs that were just announced yesterday affect your trade plan for Bluebird at all, as EV uses a ton of the metal?
Well, I'm hoping somebody somewhere is smart enough to take the tariff off. Okay. That argue everything else. This one's a mistake, and it's a big mistake. Because we import an enormous amount of copper. Copper it's not just EVs. It's all things technology. It's all things new home construction. It's this one might have been a bridge too far. I'm hoping that gets tweaked back. Remember something. When you look at the copper demand over the next 15 to 20 years, we are going to have a global structural deficit of copper that if everything goes right and we don't have any wars, we don't have any big floods, we don't have any earthquakes, take a look on a map where all the copper comes from and ask yourself the probability of this playing out, and technology and production level, we'll have a shortage of copper according to the folks at S&P 5 to 7 years of a global shortage. If we have any of that other stuff, you have a semi-permanent global copper shortage. Okay, this is copper should be designated a national security mineral, and we get it here however we can. And I think the administration, I think they'll figure that part out. So no, I'm not factoring it into it right now.
Freeport McMoran, by the way, guys, I threw it there in the chat.
Yes.
Producer, by the way, producer's name is Benzinga. Host is either me or 13. FYI. But Freeport McMoran, this was the stock that popped on the announcement of those tariffs.
Yes.
This is the American Copper Company.
Right. So I mean, we'll see with how the copper thing plays out. I don't think that particular one's going to stay in force forever. But when you look at this list, I mean, there's a bunch of insurance companies on the list, and I know we all love to hate insurance companies. Truth of the matter is, insurance is just fairly profitable business when it's run right.
Yeah.
So you've got great insurance companies earning great returns, excellent fundamentals, trading at very low price to earnings. Very EV to EBIT is what I use instead of earnings. You've got Sally Beauty Holdings, which is the little beauty supply stores that you see all over the country in pretty much every town center mall that you can find. And them and Ulta Health and all that, they're never going out of business. So just some great companies in here. And again, small cap absolutely works. Small cap deep value delivers stunning long-term returns, but you must take out the garbage, right? You've got to get rid of the unprofitable. You've got to get rid of the bad ideas. You've got to get rid of the stupid management, right? And there is a ton of stupid management out there in small cap land.
I was just going to say, if anyone has traded small caps for really any length of time, you know that a sleepy or stupid management team can ruin a trade faster than anything else, faster than some of these tariff headlines that everyone's so scared of. I mean, it's I've been there, Tim. I've learned the hard way from experience. So,
and to be honest, there's more than one dirtbag out there in small cap land.
Yeah, definitely.
Relying on numbers like the Altman Z-score or the Piotrowski F-score, you are going to get rid of the garbage. You're going to have a much smaller pool of stocks, but they're also going to have a much higher probability of providing you with outsized returns. So anyway, that's two studies from Rob Arnott and his team at Research Affiliates, who have proven their brilliance once again by confirming my thinking, which I think more universities need to use this standard to vet their research. It's like the numbers.
The Tim Melvin standard.
The numbers look great, but what does Melvin think? That's a great bumper sticker. What would Melvin think?
WWMD. What would Melvin do? We need bracelets made for that.
No, what would Melvin think? I mean, we all know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit here and crunch numbers and do stuff and buy stocks and watch my Orioles find ways to lose baseball games. They were leading by 4 runs in the 10th inning by having 2 dumbass pitchers come in and give up a bunch of runs. But so that's what I'll be doing. But what would I be thinking? That's the more important part.
Okay, fair enough.
Not bitter about this baseball season.
No, I detected that a little bit. But you know what? You're not going to get any back talk from me today because the Cubs got pounded last night and it sucked. So I totally get it. Last night, not great. All right,
that's
Tim, that it?
That's going to be it for today. I'm going to leave some time for 13. I've been whacking his time on Wednesdays here, like Stalin on a purge. So I got to stop doing that. So yeah, I'm all done. There's 2 great ideas, 2 great strategies. If anybody wants copies of the studies, reach out to Ryan. He'll reach out to me and I'll get them to you.
Bang, bang, bang. Tim, thank you very much. We always appreciate it. I do enjoy these studies because these are not things that come across in my regular reading and my regular studying. So the fact that you're sharing it here is awesome. Thank you, Tim.
And just
check in with you next time. Yeah.
Just remember something when it comes to all these studies and ideas and stuff that I'm throwing out. If you do the same stuff that everybody else is doing, you're going to get the same results everybody else is getting. And according to all sorts of rigorous academic testing and real world study, the results that most people are getting, they suck. You don't want to do that. So think outside the box, and I'm going to help you do that every Wednesday. So we'll see you again soon.
Absolutely awesome.
Thanks,
I got nothing to add to that. That's perfect. Tim, thank you. Have a good one. We'll check in with you next time. Really good stuff, folks. Again, we're going to try and bring you content related to investing and trading in all different kinds, whether it's studies, quick trades, long trades, or anything in between. Tim Melvin, extremely helpful in that. Really good stuff yet again from Tim here. Now, Tim's departure leaves room for 13, so we'll go ahead and say hi to him. Good morning, 13. How you doing here today?
Just realized my mic was off. I'm doing just fine. And you know what, Tim? You go ahead and just whack away at my time because you bring some unparalleled value to this platform. So anytime you want to keep talking, you just keep going.
I was going to say, when he was saying that, I was thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure 13 views that as a break, and it's not necessarily a negative.
It's more time to prepare. But today I didn't need it. But we'll get to why that is. It seems like we're just looking at a whole bunch of old girlfriends this morning.
Okay, that sounds ominous. But let's go ahead and check the movers tool here. We'll start with SUGP first. This is for you penny players. This is a penny stock yesterday that has, a 45-cent stock that has now graduated to dollar territory, doing its absolute best to hang on right now. VWAP here at 98 cents. SU Group shares trading higher after the company was awarded, what is that, $88.5 million Hong Kong dollars? Is that what this is?
Yeah, so that's basically going to be 11.5 million in US dollars.
Okay, so 88.5 million Hong Kong dollars, which good. Thank you for doing the conversion. Thank you, Tim, for giving 13 enough time to do that conversion for a hospital contract. So, okay, so new contract here. This stock, you look, after yesterday, I don't want to say we're going to pass on anything. We're at least going to give it its credit here or its due process and see how it ends up trading here. This stock, though, again, Chinese stock here on average trades just shy of 64,000 shares. So this thing's pretty much a ghost town unless it's moving. Now today with the catalyst here, 65 million shares, 3.99 million shares in the float, so 4 million. Stock has no short interest at all. So 13, what are you thinking on this one?
So this is a company that provides security-related services. I'm not sure if that means they do like security guards or something else. I didn't look too deep into this because I saw that this is a Hong Kong company, and I was like, okay, well, this may or may not be that great. 4 million shares in the float, like you said. Look at their balance sheet. Actually, company does have cash and it does have revenue. The concern is that the operating expenses have been increasing over the years. And it seems like they are currently operating in the red. So a little concerning there. This that seems to have also pulled their stock valuation down over time as well. Now we're getting a massive lift here that takes us back up to the 200-day SMA, something we have not seen it touch since December last year. So maybe this starts trading a little bit better if it can start closing over the 200-day SMA. Now, I'm personally not having high hopes for this company. But it does seem like it is going to be running into resistance at about this area between about $1 and $1.15 would be about where the resistance appears to be. And then there's consolidation above that. So could get some pretty good movement out of this one. I'm not having high hopes for it. It is still holding above the VWAP as we're speaking right now. But if we start losing that, then I'd be looking at about 73 cents as the next support area.
Okay, perfect. That 73 cents lines up nicely with the 65 EMA on that 5-minute chart. Okay, good stuff there. EVOK looks like this is moving on a recent PR here. Looks like this just started, about 25 minutes ago here? Ticker EVOK. EVOK Pharma shares trading higher after the company announced it received a notice of allowance for the U.S. patent application covering Gitmodi in patients with moderate to severe symptoms of gastroparesia. So this was This was about 277 yesterday. Big pop here, up 151% on the back of this piece of news. Quick look around the horn on some of this. 1.33% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover, so not a whole lot of short interest in there. This too, without the presence of a catalyst, a ghost town, as it averages 16,000 shares traded per day. The entire day. Today we've traded 18 million. Float here is 1.327. So what do you think on this one? Another patent headline here. I feel like these often sell off after the initial pop.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. It's great that they're getting that notice of allowance. That's just from the U.S. Patent Office, though. It's not like an FDA approval or anything like that. So I don't know how much weight this is going to carry. I don't think it will be too much. Doesn't mean that we won't get some kind of movement like we're getting right now, but I really don't know how long this will last. It's not that significant. It's good, but it's not too significant in my opinion. I think that there's no cash attached to this. There's no capital raise or any revenue or anything like that. This is just a notice of an allowance they received so that they can use their Gitmodi drug, apparently. So I don't know how much weight I would give this, but we can certainly take a look at the chart and see what it's providing for us here. And now that we've gone right up to 8.
Before you dive into the chart, I will go back and show that chart here. But really quick, Crow bringing us some pretty good information here. EVOC, they pump this news every 6 months, so this is a no touch for me.
Oh, okay.
Really quickly, 13. What I did here was I just opened up Pro and I opened up a news feed. I filtered it for only EVOK, and then I also added a filter here for that Gitmodi. I actually spelled it Gitmodi at first, which is not right. And this will actually show that to you. This will show you how this is here. Here we go. December 3rd of 2024, Evoke Pharma receives notice of allowance for 2 additional patents protecting Gitmodi. So it looks like they continue to do this. They continue to look for patents for these. This is not a new thing here, Crow. This is a really good spot and a really good mention that we're able to confirm with just a couple of keystrokes here. Daniel also saying EVOK, a no touch for me too. So appreciate the group there offering some of your insights. 13, I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm going to go back to the movers tool here. What did you have on the chart for us?
Well, I mean, I was just looking at how we just ran up to 8. I haven't really looked beyond that. Seems like we're just kind of past that level as well. Seems like we're in consolidation from early 2024. If this continues to pump up, I think about $12 is where I would kind of peg the potential high. But I don't even know if we'll get up there today. I was just kind of looking at their website to see if they had anything regarding their pipeline, and it doesn't seem like they even have. I now looking at it, I don't even know if they have anything going on with that right now. Because I just said I'm not seeing anything. That doesn't mean that they don't have a clinical trial of some kind happening, but nothing's coming up for me. Just doing a quick, simple search. So I guess this is probably just something we would want to maybe stay away from and look at elsewhere, because there's a lot of other names that look better than this.
Here, so Ryan, this is a really good thought. Given our discussion here, Ryan is asking, and Ryan, I'm just assuming, so if I get this incorrect, please correct me. But it sounds like Ryan is saying here, well, then maybe this makes for a possible short. So one thing, I'm not going to speak for 13, but I'll say for myself here. First of all, I've made it no secret I'm a long bias trader. I'm not much of a shorter. If I do short, I like to do it via puts so that I don't expose myself to unlimited risk. I have a tough time recommending a short, especially on a momentum move like this. So, Ryan, when we have these discussions, I'm going to be very, very careful about saying, I think this could be a good short, because think about that. If I had said that yesterday on Proc when the thing pulled back to 120, and I'm telling the group here, boy, this junky company looks like a pretty good short, and then it gets jammed up to 5 in a halt fest, that's going to break people. So I'm never going to look at one of these and say, yeah, this makes a great short. It's different if we're talking about a company like Amazon or Apple, some established company like that. But some of these crazy momentum rippers like this is just not a part of my plan. Now, if you're going to go ahead and do that, try and capture maybe some regression back to the mean or something like that, great. I've done that before. CEP was an example of that, but thankfully that had an option chain where I felt more comfortable talking about that, because you're probably, if you're just buying puts, your max risk is what you paid, right? So you're not going to put yourself in a position to get blown out. So just to be very clear here, I'm never going to be in a position where I am recommending or hyping or really looking at something that carries with it the ability to blow people up. I think that's irresponsible, and I would feel absolutely terrible if I was responsible for doing that to somebody else. And I know I'm taking some liberties there, and I'm fast forwarding there, but just so you're aware, when we talk about some of this stuff, I'm not necessarily going to say it's a good short. If that's the way that you want to go, be my guest, but have risk, have your maximum risk tolerance in mind when you're doing that. Sorry again for the side rant.
Maybe if, to your point, maybe if the float had something like 100, 200 million shares in it, that'd be something we could maybe consider. But this has less than 1.5 million shares in the float. You could easily get absolutely squeezed out of your position just like that. So you don't want to be taking any short. I wouldn't take any shorts with something like this, because I could get squozen pretty easily. I want to try that.
And here, so Vlad saying here, Evok short all day here, junk company.
Go for it.
And that's it. Like, just because I'm saying that I'm not going to do it or 13's not going to do it, that doesn't mean that it can't be done. And that's also not what we're saying. It really just comes to really putting risk forefront here. And we're talking about shorting some of these small price momentum rippers. It's just trying to be as safe as possible, basically. Don't want to make promises on anything like that as well. Okay, let's keep moving on here. Next one is going to be Skag. Oh, God, here we go. Skag is the next mover here. The stock was $4 yesterday. We actually popped above 14 today. We've done nothing but really kind of bleed back here, and we're still holding higher by about 98%. Now, the last piece of news here was apparently from July 3rd, right? July 3rd, they completed a major business combination with Pubco. I don't know if that's what's driving it here today. Maybe it just got found. Maybe it's some type of pump, but nonetheless here, no short interest information for this company. Fairly new issue. On average, it trades just shut 569,000 shares. Today, we've traded 7 million. Float on this is 26.7 million. 13, I know there's not a whole lot on this, but do you have anything here?
Well, to me, it looks like it could just be a China pump, but here's the thing. This is a company that produces heavy-duty EVs. We were just talking about EVs.
Yep.
We're just talking about how copper tariffs could affect EVs and a number of other industries that use the metal. This could be one that maybe because they're not going to be affected by any copper tariffs. I believe they get their metal elsewhere, or not sourced locally, but from I think maybe Myanmar or some other country. That could be one reason why we're seeing this, but there's literally no news attached to this. It's just getting pushed up. And I think the fact that it's, an EV company that uses the metal may have something to do with it, but I don't know if that's the case. 26 million shares in the float, not too hard to move around, but to me, this just looks like it's just getting pumped up.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what the reaction after the impulse move looks like. Well, I guess we'll keep an eye on it, see if anything changes, but that's where we're at right now. Okay, next one here is going to be BMGL. This is Basel Medical Group. This stock here was just shy of $2 yesterday. This popped all the way just close to 5 here, 484. It looks like was your high there. Last piece of news looks like this was also on July 2nd here. They appointed a new accounting firm as of June 30th. I'm not sure why that's a huge driver here. Nonetheless, this seems to be moving on these little volume pops. We have these increasing volume nodes, and that corresponds to an increasing price here. When that volume stopped, the price came back in. Now it's doing a decent job holding this $3 level. We are beneath VWAP slightly, so we'll see if we can cross that, maybe draw some more volume into this name. That might give us an upside trade on this. Quick look around the horn on this, 5.09% of the float shorted there with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 5.677 million shares. Today we've traded 50 million shares, and the float here is 8.5. So what do you think on this one, BMGL?
Just kind of goes in with the rest of these names that we're moving on, which appears to be no news. Didn't look and see exactly what, why this is what's happening here with this one. So I do not know. What I do know is that it's got a very low float, 8.5 million shares. The financial position on this, let me switch here to quarterly. Don't have one on a quarterly and the annual. So it does have some revenue, but doesn't appear like it has a whole lot of cash. So if we see something, a headline today, since we're not getting one yet, maybe there's a capital raise coming, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what is causing this to go up today, but maybe there's something in that Form 6 from last week. But I don't have a read on this one. Let me look at the chart here, because I was looking at a lot of these and just saying there's no news for a lot of these. So we'll just I was just kind of thinking maybe this is a day where we just focus on what the technicals are telling us. Right now, BMGL currently trading beneath its VWAP, though it's trying to recover from the 310 low it put in earlier. VWAP I have at about 348, 349. 349
for me.
Yeah. So, and it's looking like it's starting to curl back up. So if we recapture this VWAP, this may start trading better. And this is great to recapture it as we go into the open, because I think we could get that momentum in the pre-market as the price rises going into the open. Some areas of resistance going to be 4, maybe just slightly above 4, like 405. But after that, this thing has a little bit of room. And once it gets above 420, could go up to 485, which is a pre-market high right now.
Okay, good stuff there. BMGL. Next one here is just a continuation from yesterday. This is PROC. This is Pro Kidney. We're gapping up here again. Unsurprised given the move yesterday, the size of the move yesterday, the volume, the relative volume, the whole 9 yards. Unsurprised to see this trading higher here in the pre-market. Careful with this one. I would imagine that this is going to make some type of pullback at some point. I think Ryan... I can't remember the exact name. I'm pretty sure it was one of the Ryans here. Held this overnight, being rewarded for that. Let me know what your exit plan is here. Let me just confirm that we didn't have any other new news since I started here. Never mind. Pro Kidney to participate in the H.C. Wainwright 4th Annual Kidney Virtual Conference. That takes place Monday, July 14th, and it's a fireside chat. Their time slot is 1:30 Eastern. So we'll see what happens between now and then. Monday, July 14th, that's just this upcoming Monday here. So we'll see. Maybe that will give it some more juice here today. Guggenheim reaffirms their buy rating on this. Let me actually go see what that rating was here real quick. Analyst ratings. Guggenheim's rating was a buy with a $6 price target. We are at $5.68 right here. And actually, Bank of America Securities downgraded this to underperform and gave it a $1 price target just on the other side. But nonetheless, Pro Kidney moving here. What do you think on this one, 13?
Well, I do have some levels here for this one. So
Excellent.
If we continue to now, 575, I can see right now there's a big seller in the way from going higher there. But if we do get past that seller, looks like 6 to 620 looks to be another area of resistance. And then after that, we could hit a series of levels on the way up to 8, but 8 looks like the next big area after that. Might find some resistance, in the high 6s like 675 or the low 7s like 720. But 8 looks to be the next big level to me. And looking more to the left, I see that we had some consolidation from 2021 till about June of 22. I'm just wondering if this was a SPAC at one point. So I was just really quickly trying to see if that was the case.
Yeah, I looking at my chart there. Let's see. This goes all the way back.
Yes, it was. It was merged with Social Capital Suvretta Holdings. So it was a SPAC.
Okay.
So maybe all this downside we got here that took it down to $1.12, potential, or I'm sorry, it went even lower to 46 cents. Maybe that's a complete de-SPACing
process. Sure.
All the redemptions. So maybe this will start trading better. We'll see.
Okay, good stuff there. PROK. And as Tuna was saying here in the chat, Tuna, I had said it before you got on here, just amazing call on that yesterday live here for everybody. Congratulations for anyone who picked up PROC on that dip buy. Ended up being stock du jour there. Maybe it does have another bonanza in it today. We'll see. Okay, next on the list here is going to be Sober Safe. This is one that we're definitely familiar with, to your point about trading some of the ex-girlfriends that are on the list here. SOBR is your ticker. This popped in the after hours yesterday, popped again here to 6 in the pre-market, and it's come back in off those highs a little bit. The news that we had here, Sober Safe shares are trading higher after the company announced it had been granted European patent. So more patent news here on Sober Safe. Stocks holding up 48.5% higher here. Quick look at the short interest, 2.93% of the float shorted with 1.04 days to cover. It comes on an average volume of 348,000 shares. Today we've traded 17 million plus already, and the float here is 1.5. What do you got on this one, 13?
Just levels, really. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of these I'm just kind of looking at technicals because they are moving on either old news or news I don't think is that great, or they're not moving on any news at all. They're just getting pumped up. Looking at this one, we did cross back over the 65-day SMA. Sorry, I don't have a whole lot more on the financial side for you, but
it's okay.
Just really quickly looking at that, we do have some cash, but they are not quite profitable yet, but and very low revenue. So still expect this one to trade lower at some point. But for today, since it's getting moved up here, it looks like we're coming up to a bit of a resistance area. to 530. We're currently over the $4 resistance, which was quite a bit of a level. Looking to the left here, we had an attempt to break over that back in June to no avail, but now we're trading above it, and that March low from the 5th, or I'm sorry, the 4th, that was keeping the price from moving higher. But now that we've moved up through that low, I see a lot of the potential resistance coming up here at about 530. So we'll see what happens when we get up there. But that's about all I've got for this one. We are trading beneath the VWAP. And you know what? Now that I look at the 5-minute chart, perhaps we could even draw a trend line here to see if we can get a break.
Yes, we can. I see it too.
So let's see what happens there.
I'm gonna cut that middle. I'm gonna cut that middle candle down.
Okay.
And go to the second one.
Seems to me like we'll just have to watch for a recapture of the view up. If we get that, maybe the breakout of this trend line is coming up next. So
okay, really good.
What I'd be watching for there.
Yep, really good stuff there. A sober safe. That's one that we've done before. Yeah, Crow's disappointed with this company. Dystopian. They make sensors for cars that won't allow it to start if you've had a drink. Probably shouldn't be driving anyway. Just saying. All right. Daniel's asking KZIA, did you talk about this ticker? No, not yet. You have good timing though, brother. Or sister. I'm not even really sure. Sorry. Kazia Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced preliminary results from its phase 1B trial, combining a bunch of its drugs that start with P and have 1 billion letters in them for standard chemotherapy. Stock did pop what? Oh gosh, 1550. We've come in quite a bit. We're actually beneath the VWAP by about $2 here, just over $2. Quick look around the horn on this one. 3.52% of the float shorted there with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of just under 1 million shares, 881,000. Stocks traded 7 million here today. Floats 5.6 million. What do you got?
It looks like this is a. I saw that they get their revenue from South Korea, but it appears that this is a Australian company. Now I don't remember trading this, but I don't remember the what their exact chemotherapy drug is about. So sorry I don't have more info on this one. Looking at the float, 5.5 million shares traded. The financials aren't that great, losing tens of millions every year on very little revenue, no cash in the bank. I would be concerned about a capital raise with this one. But it looks like
the treatments there might be related to breast cancer from just kind of going through the PRs here, but I'm skimming, not actually. Yeah, the number of these PRs here, this Paxlovid, one of the drugs that I kind of glossed over there, looks to be for a combination drug with immunotherapy for women with advanced breast cancer. So it looks like that's what they're going after here, or that's what it's related to.
Okay, so with that in mind, you have seen these cancer and oncology companies really move on some really great headlines. This being a 1B trial means that there's going to be more trials after this, and they're going to be expensive.
Yep.
So I would anticipate that they're going to have to raise money or have to do some kind of private placement if they don't want to dilute their shares. So that I would expect to be coming now. Looking at the price action we're getting, we were getting some resistance at about 10.11, which is where the 200-day EMA is. So one area of resistance we're looking at. Also, when I was looking at the 5-minute chart here, after we had this impulse move up to 1554, we came down and found support from an area that has seen a lot of sideways price action, and that's going to be from about 885 to this a little bit over 10. If you look to the left, like on a smaller time frame, less than a day, you can see this sideways price action ever since June 20th. So that's going to create a bit of a demand zone, I believe, here with the current price action. But like I was saying earlier, there's going to be some more capital raises coming. I think this could still end up going lower, but let's just see how it trades. If we do go lower, area of support that I see is going to be that 65 EMA down about 834, maybe the bottom end of that consolidation I mentioned earlier. Otherwise, to the upside, we have VWAP at 1237, and it looks like ever since that impulse move, we've been having a hard time recapturing 12.
Yeah, now that impulse move that we just looked at from June June 11th here, that is that we're announcing preclinical data demonstrating that drug's potential to overcome immunotherapy resistance in advanced breast cancer. So it is definitely related to that. Okay, good stuff there on that one. Nice little breakdown there. A couple more here to mention. Did you have any more on your list? I guess I'll check with that first.
The only other two that we had, three, I guess. The only other three that we didn't cover that we're moving this morning. VRNA, there's no trade here. This is a takeover. SBET, that is still moving. That went higher overnight. To me, let's see, I marked off some levels with that one. Let me just tell you what those were real quick, because it seems like this is just on an upward trajectory right now, given that it's getting some backing from Tom Lee. I have a trend line here that could potentially mean that this thing sees 23 today. Looking at the price action we've had over the, just this year alone, we're coming up to an area where we could, actually, we're already in this gap area. We could end up filling this. Don't have a ton of confidence, but we could. And if we are, it's only $10 away from $30, which is about where the low from the middle of June is. So don't want to say that it's going to happen today, but it just seems like we're in this momentum where it could take it up to 30. So we'll just see what we end up getting here. I still think the SBET trade is on for now. But I don't know if we'll see 30 today. The only other one I was looking at was MBio, and we already talked about that.
Okay, so MBio on there. Also worth mentioning here, ZEP. This one actually went yesterday, had some more pre-market action, so maybe keep this one on the back burner. A couple of you are already on top of this. Ondas actually had some fresh news here today. Ondas Holdings to host a virtual investor day today at 1 p.m. Eastern. I actually think I have a meeting during this time, which is, I do, and I actually lead that meeting. That sucks. I'm not going to be able to watch that. But interested to see what they say here. Focuses on Ondas's autonomous systems and reports preliminary Q2 2025 financial results. They reported that, or they expect to report about $6 million in revenue for the quarter ended June 30th. Weren't they saying that their full year revenue from their last earnings was looking at like 24 million? I'd have to go back and find out here. Full year 2025 revenue of at least 25 million. The consensus was 24.05. Looks like for this last quarter, they're getting ready to report 6. We'll see what they actually report there. Stock is up here in the pre-market. You guys have traded Ondas enough on your own now. It doesn't always hold those gains, so be careful on that, but that's what's going on here. There was another piece of news for AES. AES shares are trading higher after Bloomberg reported that the company is exploring options amid a takeover interest. So you might see headlines going back and forth on a potential merger and acquisition. That will drive ticker AES. It is up 16% here today. And then Surf Air Mobility. This was getting a number of mentions here in the chat. Ryan here saying Surf Air Mobility is a Palantir invested company. This had a monster day yesterday. We're pretty much right at the intraday highs from yesterday. So that area is worth watching. Call it 750 or whatever number there you're looking for. I think that was it for the list for me.
Joseph Schmo was asking about docs, and this Evercore ISI group upgraded it to outperform and gave it a $7 price target.
Doximity, that's why this is up on light volume here, right? Yeah, this is up on just 31,000 shares here. You're right about that. Evercore, that's a $70 price target. Just for some context here, looks like other price targets, recent ones from the last couple of months here, 70, 62, 80, 60, 50, 65. So that price target seems to be pretty much in range, maybe at the higher end.
And look at EVOK. This is why we didn't want to say, it's a great short, because stuff like this. We didn't want to go this route.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Yep. So next leg up here after talking about that had just jammed people. Jammed people. So, okay. All right. Really good stuff here. We're about to open. Let me flip over to the main workspace. We can view. We can view stocks from that. We can, as we go into the open here. Let's see, how much time do we have? Minute 15. You got anything you want to cover? I actually want to run to the washroom real quick. Can I put up a chart and dip real quick? I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead and put up a workhorse. Jonathan Cooper is asking about that. We were noticing this getting some movement. I think it was yesterday. Don't know the exact reason. Haven't really got much news since July 4th, and that was EV company news. Aside from that, we have a 50% short interest and 2.74 days to cover. So that's significantly lower than what the 43% short interest was showing back in May. So with those covered, maybe this is starting to get a little bit of a turnaround here. That was some of the highest volume we've had in the company's history, it looks like, yesterday. Let me just zoom in closer here and see what else I can get from this. So been basing for some time. I'll be honest, I forgot this company was even on the exchange. That's how forgotten it was. Looks like we are coming up to a bit of a resistance area at $4. So that would be another area of interest to look for. Now, if we get past $4, it looks like 465 could be another area of resistance. And then after that, maybe we don't see a significant amount of resistance until about $5.80 to $6, where we had this February consolidation. There you are. So yeah, workhorse.
Good timing.
Workhorse looking like this is turning around, and we just opened. Sorry to ramble there, but we just opened. Looks like we're getting some pull here in SBET. KZIA is kind of sideways, not doing anything quite yet. SUGP, that's lower. It lost VWAP. EVOK, this is pumping higher. 935 is the high.
BMNR, this is actually curling up. This was higher in the pre-market, up by about 10% here. It's trading basically into the consolidation area from yesterday.
BMGL is trying to push up to VWAP.
Still got that at 349.
Mm-hmm.
Market popping right out of the gate here. Dow, SPY, and NASDAQ all higher right here.
I guess those the tariff deadline was just something we were all waiting for to pass, and now the market's trading better. I don't know. This is not necessarily the direction I thought we would go. Did I miss ALB?
Oh, I did. Someone asked me about that. We actually just ran out of time here real quick. Let me go do that though. They actually were very polite with that as well. Here, ALB. Okay. Here's Albemarle. This to me was a play. If EV sales are really going to kind of turn around, and not just Tesla, but really any EVs, Albemarle is likely to be a good play. This thing really can't get out of its own way. As far as looking for a swing trade on this, give me a close and multiple closes above the 200-day. Look at this. Basically, since March 14th of 2023, this thing has remained under its 200-day and just has really poor action. Now, it does look like maybe it's bottomed down here recently in a high 50 handle. We'll see, but let's get above that 200-day at $80 and hold above that. Maybe we can swing this back towards triple digits. Yeah,
$100 is certainly a resistance area too. But back to the smaller movers. Looks like SUGP is recapturing its VWAP and a dollar, trying to push higher. Now, if this does end up getting going here, it looks like we can draw this trend line to get an idea. This is going to be a similar trend line to what PROK was having yesterday. So if this it continues to move up and hit this trend line that we just drew, we're looking at a break over 125, maybe going to 130 before we run in that trend line. Yeah, that one. So we'll see if that's what ends up happening there.
Okay. Let me actually get this queued up here.
I also do like ALB. I hold a small position with this company. I've been holding it for a little while. Just added some recently. They're one of the largest lithium producers.
Yep.
So and we're still going to have an appetite for batteries, whether Tesla becomes continues to be a big EV name or not. We're very much into batteries in the United States. All right, looks like a lot of those movers are just getting an absolute pull right now. everything. SBET, KZIA, Sober, BMGL, EVOK, except SUGP. That one's pushing. Maybe because it's
Proc pulling back to the VWAP.
Maybe because it's not in America. Wow. So lots of polls here.
Bloom Energy, this taking the next leg up after its price target raise from JP Morgan on neutral to overweight rating. Bloom Energy here, I think that was a $33 price target, $8 away. $7 away, excuse me. BT, this is another one that you folks were mentioning was curling up here in the pre-market. This does look like it wants to move above 4. Your SUGP looks like it's gonna try and test 110 here. I can put that back on the screen here. See if we pop. Yeah, there's the size there. They took all of it at 110. 110 down here. I'm not in this, but this did take that out here. 127, your pre-market high, and then we have that trend line value at about 130. SUGP, this is looking good.
Wow. Is this going to halt? Looks like it's about to halt.
Yes, if it holds here at 116, it should halt.
Yep, there it is.
Yep, halted there. 671,000 shares traded right at 116 for that halt.
So is this today's PROK?
We'll see. We don't necessarily get PROKs every day, but
Nope.
Sure giving you a nice little move right out of the open there. Let's see how it behaves out of this halt. Remember, PROK, it had 45 halts yesterday. PROK. That's insane. It's insanity. Someone was asking about Game here. This is Game Square Holdings. This also popping to the pre-market high. I'm not sure what this company does, though.
Squarely Games. Circle is getting a mention here, saying it's a flying. Wow, SBET is really coming in. Let's see what happens with $17. That could be a support area.
That's on SBET, huh?
Mm-hmm. SBET really coming in, not going into the 20s quite yet.
KZIA also continuing to come in a little bit. SBET, I've got this 1774 as a key level here. We're right on it.
EVOK. Man, this thing is continuing to press shorts. There's a lot of whipping around here today. SBET side by side with Ethereum. Thank you, Big Bear.
Boeing. Wow, Boeing, big power move here out of the gate on volume, and this is bigger than average volume. Man, way bigger. Did we have news on Boeing? Susquehanna maintains positive on Boeing, raises the price target to 252. Absolutely, we do.
With that India Air issue out of the way, it seems like it's got room to move now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Boeing, nice little move here early.
Okay, so Workhorse just ran into a bit of a resistance area. Let's see if it can break through it. Drew a bit of a trend line here starting from November of 2024 through the March high. And we just, and if you keep drawing it, we just hit this this trend line. But that's in Workhorse on a daily chart. Yeah, Shug P is halted. That's right.
Shug
P.
What was the trend line that we were?
I drew it from November's high in 2024 through the March high. Now, maybe it's different on my broker.
Yeah, I don't have a March high. They're all really low here.
Okay. I don't know if that accounts for some kind of.
I wonder if that was just one of those phantom candles or low volume candles or something like that,
or some kind of capital raise that is not being calculated the same way.
Yeah.
Never mind then. We'll move on to something else. Let's see. EVOK, is that that just made another high.
10 coming.
Yep. Still think we might see some resistance in the 12s.
NBIS, I know we haven't seen Chris in a while. Hope he's well. NBIS here. This is one that we've talked about, AI name that we've talked about quite a bit here. This is actually having a nice move today, right out of the open, plus 3.4%. I don't see any news on this one. NBIS, nice move there. What else we got? Amazon, that's continuing higher here. We talked about those insider sales by Jeff Bezos for his extravagant wedding. Actually, I think it was it HD or HG? Someone earlier had mentioned that Bezos still has, 19 million left to sell. Was that 19 million shares, $19 million worth? I know it went by while we were talking to Tim, so I didn't catch it all. I would imagine, though, that not a whole lot wouldn't necessarily stop this from moving higher. Yeah, the small remaining amount, anyway.
Just trying to find a good entry on some of these names. It's just, some are just like really having these large moves in one direction or the other. Here we go. We've seen this move already. SoundHound traded up to the highs from yesterday, and then at the open it sold off. But it's getting a little bit of support from VWAP, so we'll see if that can try and turn around here.
Yeah, this 1340 to 1350 area, that would be a pretty big break if that can do that and go higher.
How much time do we have left in Shug P?
Let's see. That was, you know what? I don't have, excuse me, I do. That was halted at 935.14. So it's open. There it is. 5 minutes. That was a good call. That's going higher here. 139, your high print.
Yep. And it's running into that trend line.
Look at that, dude. Look at that.
Trying to push it down. Now, I don't know if this is going to be where it turns around and goes lower, or if it's just going to do another Pro-K situation where we just go over it and just halt up the rest of the day. Halt up, halt down.
Tuna, what say you? You were the oracle on Pro-K yesterday. Proc. S&P futures here at the highs for the session, 63.06 and a quarter, 623.95 on the SPY.
BMGL, it's not ready. So Smoke Tuna, where are you thinking it is ready? Probably down at 250. Is that what you'd think there? And Brad is also mentioning AMD is at 140. So Samel, how's that AMD trade working out now?
Which one?
AMD.
Oh.
140.
So it's working out well, you're saying?
Sounds like it could. Looks like Workhorse is trying to get into this, get into the fours, knocking on the door of $4 after going up to 388. Trying to get over VWAP as well. And okay,
UPXI. This is on the. This is one that we've traded here before. Yep. Mike, looks like Mike, you hit this one on some of those cheap calls. Nice job.
Samel's doing well with AMD. Awesome. Smoke Tuna saying BMGL might not work for the morning. Shug P breaking out over that trend line.
Where's the H?
What do you mean?
Shug.
Well, you know how you pronounce. You know how there's no H in sugar.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's a soft H.
Perfect. It's the soft H. It sounds like a rapper. Shug P. That's kind of
what I was going for.
Good morning, Robert. Good to see you. Good morning, Lion. Good to see you. Wing Trader. Good to see you. Mentioning RYTM here. That is also moving higher here. Rhythm Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher if the company announced top-line results from its phase 2 trial for bivamelagon. Okay, this is a pretty huge move here. This was $66 yesterday, 81 here today, up 25% on that. Wish I had that one.
SBET continue to get locked down. Shug P hitting a 145 high. Smoke Tuna saying EVOK might go here. Maybe. MACD is looking like it might roll over here. But let's see if we can get some more volume expansion. It takes us over 10. Maybe it has to come in first too. Maybe that's something that needs to happen first.
BT, I still think this makes a run at 4 with the strength that it's showing here today.
EVOK might see better. Just wait for a better entry. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I know Jay Rice is on vacation here, but his little semi-stock INDI popping right out of the gate here. man, good Lord, the scanner is so snappy and responsive after this recent update. Oh my God, that new quotes project was awesome. Awesome. Circle, CRCL, this out of the right or straight up out of the open. Easy for me to say. Also seeing some call buying here, chasing this. These are the calls that expire this week. So these are short-term trades, betting on some more upside here. Also seeing SBET calls come across. Not huge on that SBET, but seeing that as well. They must be getting bought into that pull down here. Boeing calls, not a whole lot there. That's just continuation. Repeat NVIDIA calls.
Yeah, SBET going, it looks like it's beeline right for 17.
NVIDIA, a lot of option action here. These are also short-term, 160, 165.
SBET going to 17. We're almost there. Watch it not hit 17 and just turn around earlier. Smoke Tuna is looking for around 7 for entry. EVOK to see if it supports. He also mentioned PROK.
Proc's at the right at the pre-market high here, and we've seen what this thing can do yesterday. So maybe this pops and goes. Shug P also put in a new high here, 149, and we're almost right there on Shug P. Watch for another possible break. And yeah, that's right, Judge. NVIDIA, first stock ever to hit a 4 trillion market cap on that move higher here.
All right, SBET down to 17 at 200 EMA. See what happens there. Looks like Workhorse not able to recapture VWAP. KZIA, I'm not sure if this is going to make a breakout or not, but it looks like it's gearing up to.
IONQ, this is trading higher here out of the gate. Rigetti's trading lower and actually seeing some put sales or put contracts following that as well. AMD calls here. Tell you what, chips look strong here today. What's SMH like? Yeah, SMH up 1.5% here early. Shug P 152 as that continues higher here. Maybe we caught another one.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to halt here too. If this holds at 152, bang, halted. Shug P.
Wow, nice call.
BMNR. This is an offering. Is that what you're saying here? Yep. BMNR. Big pull here. Down almost 8%, 7.5% here. 250 million private placement to advance its treasury strategy on Ethereum. Files for a mixed shelf at market offering, prospectus covering up to $2 billion of common stock that may be issued from time to time.
Oh, okay, so that's not the first time they're going to do it.
Nope. That BMNR trade might be over for right now, or at least I don't want to say. Or let's put on hiatus maybe. See where this thing pulls down to.
Yeah. Well, let's see if Shug P is going to come in after this next halt. Probably have some time before that happens, but if it does come in, we're going to be looking at that trend line for support.
Robert, good morning. Mentioning DAL here, ticker DAL. This is Delta. Let's click on it here. Delta moving up on an earnings beat. So Delta reporting earnings here today. Looking at the daily chart here, let me go in my other one. I think we're right below the 200 here. Let me go to my bigger chart that's got that on it real quick. We'll check that on Delta.
Sober's turning around, trying to recapture 5.
Yep. So this Delta move here, be waiting or be looking for this to really kind of test that 54.5 level. That's your 200 day. Last time we came up here at the beginning of May or middle of May, we got rejected and we've really kind of traded sideways. Might have some more strength to do it this time, especially with that earnings print out of the way.
Space stock's not doing too bad this morning.
Oh, you guys are at Lions. You're on vacation? Let's go. Where did you go to on vacation? That's awesome. And yeah, listen to our member 3D here. Like and subscribe, please. It's free. And if you like the content that you're getting here today, we would always appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Always. Crow, man, I dodged a bullet, got out of BM&R at 125. You know what? We're going to give you a register ring on that. That's a good sale there. And let me go back to my main workspace here real quick.
All right.
Twitter streets of note.
Looking to see if SBET's going to turn around here. It is still continuing to get some support from the 200 EMA despite printing beneath it.
Do we have any news on Ideal Power? That had a 10+% day yesterday, is up another 6.5 today.
Sober.
I would love for it to break out of this area, guys. Please.
Speaking of breakouts, Sober broke over 5, went up to almost 530. Looks like 527 was the high there. Now it pulled back beneath. Not quite ready to break out yet. SBET does look like it's starting to turn around, though. Got to get through this seller at 1723. Chewing away at it right now. There that goes. This is looking like it's starting to turn around.
Okay, let me bring up SBET here. I got a Shug P up on one of my other charts here. I'll watch that halt for you.
Really nice turnaround here. Nice bounce off the 200 EMA and SBET.
Oh, look at that. Look at it.
Now, I don't know if this is going to go back up to recapture VWAP or not, but this was a really nice little bounce here that we got from SBET.
Okay, Izzy here asking about Ondas again. Talked about this a little bit earlier here. The news on this is that they're going to have a investors presentation here today. So Ondas to hold a virtual investor day today at 1 Eastern to focus on Ondas's autonomous systems and report preliminary Q2 financial results. They expected to report $6 million in revenue for the quarter ended here June 30th.
Just some mentions that we're getting here. Smoke Tunis mentioning PROK. Kathy Austin mentioning GAME, G-A-M-E. We also have JVS mentioning CLDI. Lion talked about Edit. And also getting a mention for EVOK.
Now, Proc tried to bust out of that pre-market, but kind of stopped there. At least stopped so far.
EVOK is trying to recapture VWAP. See if it can get back above it. High of the session is 988. Does kind of look like this wants to roll over, though, so I think I'd be a little bit extra careful with this one. Now, how much time do we have left on Shug P? Never mind.
It's open.
Jeez.
Gosh, there you.
My internal clock.
There. Now, here's the thing. So I was just going to say, sorry, I'll pull it up in the main chart here as well. It looked immediately like it was going to turn around. I know you wanted to, you had said earlier, you want to see what happens if it pulls out of this halt.
Yeah. Got to pop
initially, but the buyers are buying it right back up there. 174, your high.
Yeah, I still want to see a back test of this trend line. And if we do get a good back test of that and the volume is still looking great, I think it could be another PROK. But we'll see.
I think just kind of looking at the daily chart here, I think your next spot is probably 2 and then 260 after that. What a move out of the open.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, Jeff. We know. NVIDIA's up at 4 trillion. Crazy, crazy valuation.
EVOC bouncing off of its VWAP.
And Shug P is at 175. Looks like EVOK is trying to turn around still. Recapturing VWAP.
Circle's getting bought back up. Yeah, we took a look at that earlier a little bit. Take a look at it again here real fast. So this actually pulled off that initial move higher. Sorry, 13.
No worries. KZIA still trying to get above some of these the 9 and 15 EMAs on the 5-minute chart here. Still holding above VWAP. Just kind of caught in between that area. See if it can break out.
Wing Trader mentioning RXRX. That was another one we had talked about from that news story. What was that? Monday.
Look at United Wholesale Mortgage, UWMC. That's having a nice morning.
UWMC. So someone, I can't remember who it was, just telling me about loading up on this.
We were just talking, well, because this is one of those mortgage companies. We were just talking about, I don't know if it was somebody in our happy hour chat, but this one has been at some,
It was Zoltan, I think.
Oh, okay, because he's probably been buying it. I own this as well. Been buying. I was buying this when it was in the low 4s and under 3. But really good dividend. But needs some more mortgage volume. All right, KZIA. Here we go. Now we're starting to see some moves. We're trying to get back over those 9 and 15 EMAs. This one does look like it's trying to curl back up. So a little bit more volume might help give this a better lift. Do anticipate some resistance at 1050 though.
Proc continuing to move higher, new highs here on PROK.
Excellent.
Amazon, huge move here right out of the open. I guess I shouldn't say huge move. It's up 2%, but a nice power move right out of the open here. This is actually right at or near where Bezos sold. Those spots again were those prices. Where are you? 223.73 and 223.92 was the spot where Bezos was selling. Someone here had said he still has 19 million more to sell. Maybe we run into that level.
And thank you, Lion, for mentioning MBio. This is on its upper trajectory right now, coming up to some resistance around 375. High of the pre-market was 409. Just recaptured VWAP. We're getting some smaller time frame EMA crossings here. 9 is about to cross VWAP. We'll have 15 shortly afterwards. This might see 4 again.
Shug P came off the 184 high, getting bought back up already.
Wow.
A lot of strength here in Shug P. Smoke Tuna saying EVOC next level to watch here, 7 to 626 for support. So 7 and 626 support and entry. Okay.
KZIA hit 10. This is a nice move. This could end up going higher as well. I think I said 1050 was the spot to watch for in this one. Maybe not 1050 in this one. That was probably a different one. Looks like 11. Sorry.
Rhett here saying new strategy, buy Amazon on Prime Day drops after the pop. Wasn't one of you saying that as of yesterday morning, Prime Day sales were like 14% lower than previous? I will say last night when I was just kind of hunting around YouTube for something to watch, one of my favorite car detailers had a video on all of the really good car detailing products that were on sale on Amazon Prime. And one of the comments that he made in the video was that there's actually like a lot of really good products. It's not these cheap, crappy products, but actually really good pressure washers and hose reels and hoses and all that stuff. It was just sounded kind of surprised that there were some good items for sale there. I almost wonder if those sales are going to pick up here. And then with the extended sale itself, I think there's an extra day on it this year. Maybe that does end up giving us some good numbers. Amazon here, nice little run right out of the open, though. Real strong. Izzy, I got to imagine that you're on this one here today.
Wire and Ramos. Yeah, Proc still going. And a number of these other ones still going as well. MBio still, setting up for some trades. So that one's entertaining. We have KZIA, which also is one we traded previously. I don't think we did it yesterday, but in another session. That one's still moving up. It looks like SOBR is also making some moves, but getting some pullback here in some of these names now. Looks like Shug P may actually come back down to test that trend line. Finally getting a red candle in the regular session. So what would that be? About 135-ish? There's buyers setting up there too as well.
Workhorse, this might be setting up for another move higher. We'll see.
KZIA, new session highs. This is trying to...
Yeah, I think this might be going for that VWAP. Yeah. In fact, Shug P is pulling back. I'm actually going to shift this to KZIA. I might try and scalp this one here.
Now, KZIA is above my VWAP. We are coming up to some resistance around like 11. But I like the way the MACD looks. This to me is saying that we might see some even better movement if we can get above 11.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things I really like here is this volume looks like it's starting to expand here. So I'm with you on that move over 11. I think if we do print over 11, we probably make a dash to 1150 there.
Well done, Izzy. Made Amazon money today.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not surprised on that at all. All right, 1060 looked like a pretty good spot there on KZIA. Trying to go higher here. We'll see if it gets above 11. And then real quick, Market Sniper saying Prime Day is BS. So Market Sniper, a lot of truth to that. I actually, what's that?
I agree. It's get rid of all our crap day.
So, but
it's a garage sale.
Well, see, that's the thing. Amazon tried to institute some policies to make sure that you couldn't just throw up junk there. But one of the other things, pull here in KZIA, one of the other things, though, is that I just learned about this yesterday. There's a Chrome extension that you can get called Camel, which shows you price history of Amazon items right there in your browser. And so what you can do is it says this item XYZ, whatever it is 30% off and it's $19.99. And if you check it on Camel, and it shows that the price history was actually $19.99 for the past 6 months, that's kind of a false advertisement for the sale, right? Like they say it's on sale to try and get people to buy it, but the price history tells you that no, it's not actually a sale. This is what it normally goes for. So to Market Sniper's thing here about this being BS, I think a lot of things have sales slapped on it that are not actually cheaper than the average price.
Some of these names getting a pretty good pull here. It looks like MBio got a pretty decent pull back beneath, my VWAP. As you mentioned, SHIB-P is halted. Yep. EVOK is trying to find some support from the 15 EMA. That's trading beneath its VWAP. Need to see some better volume to pull it back over VWAP. BMGL, this was the one that had the offering, right?
Yep.
This is
no, that was BMNR. That was BMNR. I'm sorry.
Then that's not the one. This one did sell out of the open. Looks like it found some support down around 265. That trying to recapture its 65 EMA right now. And KZIA, that's still trying to get going here.
So that first pull got bought, and it actually looked like there were buyers stepping in for a move back above highs. And we'll see if it does it. It's still battling. It's really this right here, this 1079, 1080 area. I think you might get a pop if that falls here.
And SBET also trying to turn around here too. Still fighting with that 17 level.
Jonathan's right here. Q's pushing for another leg higher here. It actually looks like the SPY might be setting up to do the same thing. KZIA pulling a little bit again. CLDI, was that a penny name? I can't remember. Yeah, but it looks like this is going to try and go for $1 here. Wouldn't be shocked if you get $1 holla here.
Well, it's nice to see that Rocket ended up coming back over 14 again. Let's get a close above that now.
Here, your BMNR that did the offering, I think it was down 7% when we first talked about it. It's down 26% now, halted to the downside.
Those offerings, it's one of the reasons why I continue to
the midday ones them. Too.
Yeah, I just have to warn about them every time I look at a balance sheet or income and be like, this company doesn't have enough cash. When's their earnings? When are they saying, if they filed anything? It's very important for me trading these to know if they're going to, pull this on us or not.
Joe saying BA crashed. LOL. I see what you did there. But actually, it's just pulling back here. It looks like to the 15 EMA on the 5. Got that at about 223.85. KZIA might be rolling over here. Would watch that one.
Since the middle of May, Boeing has been having some broadening price action. We're almost at the top of that broadening wedge. So if we do get some resistance at about 230, which we're pretty close to, it wouldn't surprise me if we did come back in a little bit. Maybe down to 220, 210.
And here's that broadening area. Look, we tapped that here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I would anticipate that until we break out or break down out of this broadening wedge. And to me, I think we will continue to go higher. We're just going to trade and bounce around in this wedge until there's we actually clear our way out of it. Okay, so after that pull in MBio, it's getting some support from the 9 and 15 EMAs, looking to recapture VWAP. I don't know if you have the same VWAP. Mine's at
here. Let me go back. Sorry, I was on a spacewalk there. What ticker?
MBio. My VWAP is right at 350.
348.
Okay.
Ryan, Costco is looking juicy to some long-term fractional share dollar cost averagers chipping away at their initial 35,000 hour immersion. Jeff, what the hell are you talking about, dude? I mean, I love Costco, but what is the rest of that?
Master, I need to see BMGO recapture that 65 EMA. That's going to be the first order of business if we're going to see more upside.
And actually, this Costco chart kind of looks like this wants to trade down to 950, despite my bullishness and my weekly trips.
SBET not able to recapture 17, heading lower. Coming down to some consolidation from yesterday. So maybe there's a demand zone in here where it gets picked up. I do see that there's a buyer down at 630. So maybe they prevent any further downside. But if the sellers are, well, there we go. I didn't even get a chance to say it. If the sellers are strong enough, they're just going to blast right through them. And here we are. So coming down to these, the middle of this consolidation from yesterday after we got up to 16.
KZIA looking like it might lose 10 here. KZIA.
Looks like Shug P is back open.
It is.
Open lower, but it is trading back up.
It'd be interesting to see if it holds that trend line, which is actually lining up with the 15 EMA as well.
Well, at this stage, now that we've got a little bit of a pullback, I think that it would make a little bit more sense to me if we tried to break higher over 184 and into the 2 handle.
And here we go.
I do see that there's a good amount of sellers between here and 180. So going to need some more volume to get through all of those. Scalp proc, ring it. Hey, Izzy needs a ring. Nice. There we go.
Done. Amazon continues 224 now on Amazon. Izzy's having a day over there.
All right. Well, it looks like Sugar P is starting to get that expansion. It's moving its way up now in 170 area.
How is Tesla doing? Haven't even really looked at Tesla a whole lot today, which is surprising. Not a whole lot. Tesla's actually not terribly volatile today. KZIA did lose 10 there.
Jonathan Cooper is still looking for 285 on Tesla for a dip buy, and Daniel is saying that BMNR down 69. Happy to be out of it. I'm happy you're not in it either.
Yeah, me too.
Don't want nobody getting hurt here.
I'm just glad you guys have gains on those.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Sugar P still trying to get up into the 180s again.
Yeah, Chris, you're right. Today, and actually 13, I had mentioned this when I broke down the Amazon news story today, but just as a reminder for you, I'm sure you already know, but just as a reminder here, today is the Golden Cross Day for Amazon. So it'll be very interesting to see. First of all, this chart to my eye looks like this wants to break higher. Now we also have the Bezos seller out of the way. We're actually above all of his sell spots. So if he did have more to sell at that same area, that's gone. This does look like it wants to move higher here. We've got enough room on the RSI to really kind of continue to trade higher here on Amazon. The only question I have for you, 13, is that the death cross, the last time we had a cross here was recently. It was April 21st. Is this too close, do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, it was already in a downwards trajectory ever since pretty much at the start of the year. I don't think that's enough time for a death cross. So it wouldn't surprise me if we did see some oscillation. Like let's say the price goes back up to the highs around 240, and then it comes back off of it again. Mm-hmm. I could see that happening, but I don't think I would be leaning too heavily on these death and golden crosses for the time being. Okay. I still need to see some recapturing of some levels here with Amazon. But I am in this. I do like Amazon for the long term.
Yeah, and part of me almost wonders if we do trade up, if we just kind of like grind up to 240 there, if we stop, we actually have a potential cup and handle that could be forming there, or a potential double top. But okay, good stuff there on Amazon. We'll see how that goes. Good mention there, Chris.
Yep. Is he saying QuantumScape's getting volume?
Is that QS?
Yep.
Yeah, it does have a volume pop here. What was the news that drove this yesterday? Tuesday, July 8th. What's driving the rally here? Let's see.
Sentiment.
Late June disclosure of successful integration of its advanced Cobra separator process into its baseline cell production.
So are batteries coming back? Is that because we're seeing Albemarle, get a raise there? They produce lithium for batteries. Here's QuantumScape getting a lift. What other battery names are also helping here? Oh, by the way, Shug P is getting a lift into the 170s, looking to take out 180 where that seller is. So here's some of that volume we're looking for. Needs to take out that 180 seller. Oh, they keep loading it up.
NVIDIA, those early call buying here has now changed to put buying. NASDAQ's intraday chart looks like it's kind of topping right here. The Dow pulled back, the SPY a little bit. I wouldn't even, just kind of a trade down there.
Oh,
anything else that's, what's up?
Hassan is mentioning Hoth. The rebels are there.
Okay, we'll check.
All right, it's up 10%.
I have a tough time trusting this one.
They don't have any news today, but they did get a $5 price target raise back on June 26th. So I really don't know if that's carrying any weight here with this one. Could this be somebody trying to pump this up? But I don't want to make that claim either.
Tuna here saying COHU maybe for a swing long here.
He also said EVOK. Is that doing something?
United Health, more bad news here today. A Department of Justice investigation on the Medicare pricing. What happened here?
So EVOK, are we thinking that 675 bottoming was about where we're going to see the turnaround here? Still needs to recapture VWAP for me, but what are you thinking, Smoke Tuna? Is about that 675 area was where you were looking for it to bottom? Let me know. All right, so Shug P could not get above that seller at 180. And the market's kind of going sideways at the moment. SBET down at putting in a low of 16.15. I would think that maybe this tries to come back up later, but we'll see. It's kind of doing some very similar stuff that it was doing yesterday and the day before and the day before that. Get these pops out of the open, and then it just sells off the rest of the day. Sometimes it comes back.
Kelly here saying, doesn't Hoth have a CEO event today? I didn't have anything on my company events here, but maybe it just missed Hoth because that's low. It's a smaller stock. Let me see if I can find that for you on Hoth. Actually, we're going to try our little newsfeed trick that we did earlier.
Izzy, I'll take a look at GSRT. He's saying that people are talking about it. Let's see what we got here. What is this, a SPAC? Looks like a SPAC. They got news today. Memorandum of Understanding for Solar Deployment Site with Terra Innovatum. It sounds like a Warhammer reference. Let's see here. Solar deployment at Rock City Developments Industrial Park with future option to deploy 50 solar reactors on site for commercial expansion. Interesting.
The only thing I see here for a Hoth event happened on June 24th. So whatever event that was that they were speaking at, it looks like it already happened. Now, I could just be missing it. Let me know if you have it.
Sorry, I'm just looking into the GSRT news here. Trying to see if I can get any more information out of this, because I don't know if this is going to cause it to run. It's nice to know that there are some folks on X talking about it, which means they could pump it up. But I a memorandum of understanding. I don't think that carries enough weight for me.
Me either.
I'd like a definitive agreement, but that's just me. Call me old-fashioned. EVOK looking like that's okay. So now smoke tuna. Now, yeah, I'm starting to see this candle form where it might turn around here. If it does, I'll be looking at a recapture of VWAP.
I'm going to help out one of my teammates here real quick.
All right, looking like we are getting that move up to VWAP here. We just hit it.
On which stock? Sorry.
EVOK.
Got it.
Now, can we get through it? That's the question. What's going to happen, Tuna? Are we getting through this thing? We're going to go back up into the 8s and the 9s, maybe the 12s. Certainly looks like it's getting some good volume here.
Did anyone get as excited as I did about the news yesterday, the TSA news? You don't have to take your shoes off at the airport anymore? I know some of you that are on TSA pre-check are like, bro, I've been not taking them off for years. But pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Shug P is halted down. Well, it's been halted. I thought it's been halted for some time now.
This has been halted since 10:14, so it's been halted for a minute. Shug P.
I must be thinking of another one. BMNR is getting a green candle after selling off.
Yeah, Samel, I am definitely happy about that too. One less thing to grab. It feels like you're racing. Feels like you're racing to try and gather up all your stuff. And Izzy, or who was that? Brian, if you got a hoodie, take it off. I often travel in a hoodie, and I always have to grab that. Alpha says, very nice. I always worry if I remembered to remove all my illegal guns from my shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there was only one attempt to conceal some bomb in a shoe or something like that.
Yeah, and that one guy screwed it up for everybody.
But I think that the new scanning technology makes it so you can still identify some of that stuff, even if it was hidden in a shoe. I don't think they do this if they think they're opening up to a possible way to, terrorize aircraft.
But I still have to take my belt off.
Is it? Yeah, metal. Yeah, there you go.
Let's see.
Shug P still waiting on that halt there.
Yeah. And let's see, what else do we have here? So looks like BMGL is still curling up. Sober, that's making some new lows. SBET looks like that's trying to turn around. Here it is back up at 17, trying for another capture of that level there. See if we can take that out. View up I have at 1771. No, they're still suppressing price action at 17.
Mexico looks to be taking the Tim Melvin approach on the copper tariff. Mexican president says, quote, let's wait, end quote, when asked about Trump's tariffs on copper imports.
Hey, Robert, that's a good point. Why didn't so that kind of makes me wonder, why didn't we get some more cuts? Why didn't Doge hit that up? If it's security theater, we should have just been like, hey, Elon, make our flight experience much better. Get rid of TSA, or at least reduce it, and stop making us jump through all these hoops.
CLDI, this was a penny stock that did go into dollar territory. Looks like it's trying to push higher here, although it's pulling back at the moment. Looks like several of you are on that.
Is SBET a solid company? I think SBET is solid in the sense that it only is one of those Bitcoin or what's the crypto it's holding. It's only as solid as the crypto it's holding is what I would say. Was this
Solana is the crypto that SBET is holding? That's a Solana treasury.
So that's how as solid as I would say it is. If you think that Solana's a solid crypto asset, then I think you would believe that SBET's a solid company. That's just the way I would look at it.
Joe's saying it's ETH. I have it added as Solana. Yeah, it does say they earned 322 ETH. Did I add this to the wrong one?
I do not know. MBio trying
I
to
think
get
Day
back up
Trader
to
went
its
to
VWAP.
work. He normally has these memorized. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, Joe.
Watch Tyson for possible reversal, says Lion. So that would be what, TSN?
Yeah.
Let's see. So we've been selling off this morning. You're looking for a turnaround in that?
I feel like just kind of looking at Tyson's daily here. I don't know what Lion's trading plan is here, but I'll tell you what, this 54 area seems to be like a good downside area for Tyson to trade against. See if it can run back up into a 60 handle. Vivi mentioning Ondas has lost most of its gains on the open again. We see this all the time. This is one of the dangers of being in a stock, especially a smaller one that has a giant account on X that it tweets about this all the time. You're going to get people that are in here that are flipping, that are just trying to capture gains back and forth, people that are chasing, people that are late to the party. So we see this often. The headline here for today was on the virtual investor day that's going to kick off at 1 Eastern.
Shug P is open.
So I'll go back to Shug P here in a sec. So that is really the catalyst here for today. The trade up into this was just anticipation of them reporting 6 million, I think, last year in the same quarter they reported 1 million in revenue. They're estimated to report 6 million this year. That's a really great sign. We'll see if maybe they surprise here. I would imagine if this number is any higher than 6 million, stock probably pops again. There also might be some other information that they talk about in that virtual investor day that might cause it to go higher, but that event starts at 1 Eastern. Here's Shug P 13.
All right, so Shug P, it's still hanging above our trend line, but it's starting to look a little weak here.
Yeah, this might be coming back in to test that trend line literally as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Vivi, I've just been selling the open since everyone else does. Haha, making good money at least. That's awesome because you just basically identified a pattern that you're taking advantage of. Yep. And when I've talked about if you're going to try to hold for the bigger move, if whatever your position is, if you're just trading a chunk around that, you can actually still hold on to some exposure in case you wake up and it's 3 bid one day. So I think that's a good strategy there. At least you're making money. If you're making money on that, giddy up. Let's go.
Yeah, it looks like SBET's trying to turn around as well here.
Yeah, Jeff, pay yourself on the way up and get caught up on your landline bills.
Shug P halted again.
This to the downside, 144.
Still above that trend line. EVOK just looks like this is going to go lower. It kind of has a head and shoulders pattern here. Workhorse, that thing is going all the way down to the 65 EMA, and Bio still not able to get back above its VWAP. SBET still dealing with that. Sellers up at around 17. A lot of these names just don't have the volume. Goog looks good, says Lion. Hood resilient amidst lots of pullback. Just looking for something that's setting up. Looks like BMGL is trying to get back up to its VWAP. Sober Safe is continuing to make new lows. EBOK is trying to turn around, but just can't shake the fact that it looks like a head and shoulders here on this on these smaller time frames. 650 appears to be the breakdown area. We lose that, I think we go to the 65 EMA.
Okay. Let's see, what did I miss here? Proc, some of you guys still selling that. Lion saying that Google looks good. Let's take a look at that Google chart here. Google ripping here today.
Does that invalidate your Head and Shoulders?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. Here, let me go back to my bigger chart there, but that's a good call.
No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like we're still. I guess it has to go above 181. I suppose in order to close above there.
Well, I mean, these things are always kind of there's some play, if you will, here in the numbers. I technically have the number drawn at 192, but that's not anything. I mean, I could actually do this if I really wanted to. Now we can call it 185. The big thing here, 13, we also have the top end of the parallel channel that's kind of lining up with this, right? So we'll see if we go through either of those here on Goog. Head and Shoulders not yet invalidated.
Okay, so it looks like they had news that they're Samsung's new smartwatches are going to use Google's AI.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the smartwatch I use. I guess I'm not surprised there. Oppenheimer maintain and outperform and raise the price target.
Yep, that's that too. Man, a lot of these movers from this morning just not looking great at the moment. All headed lower. Even PROK after getting up to 713, we're down back at the VWAP again. Let's see if it gets some support here. It was getting some support at VWAP pretty much all morning. Good portion of the morning here. Opened beneath it as soon as we captured it. Been trading above it ever since.
13, really quickly, on the NVIDIA daily chart,
okay,
this move off the Liberation Day lows where it just kind of consolidated here right around, or just kind of flagged up here around 140, you consider that a bull flag? Because this resolved higher like a bull flag normally would, but you're saying no, huh? Okay.
If there's a bull flag anywhere in that, I would say it's from when we moved off of 117, came up to 136, cooled off a bit there, got down to about 129, and then broke out of that.
Yeah, that's sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I did say 140 here, but you're right. So basically, if I was drawing this here, it's basically this in here, and then this flag in here.
Yeah.
And now it's resolved higher from that. Okay.
Yep.
Now I've got to delete all of those things. Oh, good Lord. Because there we go. I did it. Okay. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. All right, let's check in on some of the other movers here. KZIA, that was a disappointment. SRFM, that Surf Air Mobility, that's pretty much just trading sideways.
All right, looks
Skag
like
was a disappointment all day.
Looks like Shug P is open again, and we are testing that trend line. This is not looking.
Yes, we are.
This is not looking great either. Let's see if there's some support at VWAP. If not, this thing is probably finished.
The Snap CEO is on CNBC right now talking about augmented reality glasses. Now, I'm not sure if that's anything more than adding cat ears to people, because that's all Snapchat's filters seem to do. But there's some talk here about smart glasses. Oh, side note, by the way, Idaho looks like a gorgeous state to live in. Is there anyone here from Idaho? Every time you get shots of the mountain, I mean, just good Lord. Anyway,
but the smart glasses thing. So I also saw that Meta was pouring some more into the smart glasses, and it just makes me think even more and more. Man, Apple really screwed up by not putting more into that. The headset was such a failure.
Tesla big pull here. Did we get news? Sorry to interrupt you here. Did we get news? I don't see it. Tesla big pull here. Sorry, 13.
No worries. Let me look at Meta here, because that's still grinding higher. This is coming up to the all-time highs again. All-time high in Meta is 747.90. We are getting some selling happening here in the broader market. Looks like some names are trying to turn around. Some are not.
Well, this RYTM, this Rhythm Pharmaceuticals, just continued higher though. Second Amendment rights are taken very seriously in Idaho. Sounds like my kind of place. Brian says, "Hey, Idaho." Brian.
We get all our micron memory from Idaho.
This CLDI, this penny stock continuing to rip here. Izzy, are you playing this? Are you on this one? Things just 273%. D, looks like you're all over this.
Yeah, what's going on with Tesla? Let's take a look at that because I haven't looked at the reason why it's heading lower. Oh, looks like we went up to trying 300 again, got to 315 cents, and then we reversed.
So this CLDI here, stock soared on its genetic cancer treatment being featured in a publication here. I don't know anything about this one, unfortunately. Good move here, though. 286% CLDI.
All right, so Jonathan Cooper's waiting for this dip buy to happen here in Tesla. He's looking for 285. That's about $10 away from where we are. We have EVOK. Looks like that's resolving lower, so probably going to get this this test of the $5 coming. Smoked tuna. Is $5 on your list as an entry spot? Let me know. M-Bio, that's kind of just going sideways, bouncing between the 65 EMA and VWAP for the past half hour. SBET trying to turn around, still dealing with those sellers at 17. You get through that, I'd be looking at the VWAP as the next area of resistance. Looks like we are getting some more selling in the market here. SQQQ turning around. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just gonna say you're on it. Everything's pulling back here now. Nasdaq, SQQQ, Dow really leading the way down. You know, I wonder what the IWM looks like here. Let's pull that up real fast. IWM about unchanged. Okay, but still pulling back.
What is, and it's also 10:30, so volume leaving the market. Looking at price action here today for the SPY. So we gapped up and we're selling. I mean, we are really starting to sell, unless I'm just getting a weird chart read here. Hold on a second. Okay, so yeah, we are getting some accelerated selling to the downside, pretty much giving up everything since the open. Uh, 10% trailing stop order on CDL, says Ryan. VIX spike, BTC also pull. There's got to be some kind of news happening
VIX
here.
popped a little. I don't know if it spiked. It definitely popped a little here. Let me go to my bigger news feed here and see if there's anything. Crude inventories, 7.07 barrel build versus the 1.7 barrel draw estimate. President Trump, this was a while ago, though. Yeah. This was like 30 minutes ago, tweeting that at least interest rates are at least 3 points too high. Too late, Powell is costing the U.S. $360 billion a point per year in refinancing costs.
This is a hilarious headline that we got before the open. CNN's Caitlin Collins speaks with the authors of a new book that reveals President Donald Trump told a private gathering of donors in 2024 that he once sought to deter Russian President Vladimir Putin from attacking Ukraine and to deter Chinese President Xi Jinping from attacking Taiwan by threatening to bomb the shit out of Moscow and Beijing in retaliation. That's funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I believe anything that comes out of her mouth, to be honest.
It's not for believing; it's for entertainment purposes.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then it seems
that's why I'm finding it funny. Yeah. ASTS tanking, oil data just hit. Yep, we were looking at that.
I don't really see anything crazy off here. Chime calls getting bought.
You know, It might be good for him, Kathy, but it wouldn't be great for the market because every time there's a tweet or anything that comes out, it makes markets move.
The actual quote that's coming out is that he said Putin was full of bullshit. That was an actual comment from him, not some made up one from CNN. That happened yesterday in the afternoon.
Oh, things are so polarized right now.
Yeah, they are.
I just popcorn sales have to be going through the roof.
I make mine at home. That's really the secret to popcorn. Get a popcorn maker, buy the stuff real cheap off Amazon, movie theater style. Man, oh man.
It's complicated. Well,
SUGP, this actually might be done now. Not only did we snap that trend line, but we actually snapped the VWAP to the downside here.
And watch, it'll turn around later on today and just go on to do crazy stuff.
I was going to say, just all I have to do is say that it won't do it, and then maybe we can actually put the odds in our favor of that happening. Workhorse, by the way, another one of those movers that we were talking about earlier, this all the way back to the pre-market consolidation area.
SQQQ from 19, just turning up, right around, coming up to 65 EMA on the 5-minute.
Yeah, Kevin, and I saw that news. Emirates set to accept Bitcoin for flight bookings. Remember, we recently got news that you could use crypto as assets when trying to apply for a mortgage. So Bitcoin, it just seems more and more utility there for Bitcoin. More and more acceptance is what that generally leads to.
Didn't we get some company that put out news about how they used Bitcoin for a real estate transaction?
Say that one more time.
Didn't we get a PR, like, I want to say it was this month, maybe it was back in June, but there was a company that was running on the announcement that it had used crypto to purchase real estate.
I can't place it, but that sounds right.
Pretty sure we've traded something like that recently. But it probably was one of those things where the company had no cash also. Well, I'm not sure if there's a whole lot that's looking good at the moment. I can see how some things might be setting up to trade better. EVOK still, printing lower into the 6 handle, but hasn't completely broken down yet. All these other names just kind of going sideways, looking for some footing. AQMS getting volume.
I've seen this one on the scanner a few times. I'm not even sure. Oh yeah. Was there intraday news that we got on this?
Oh, Aqua Metals. This is a recycling company, isn't it? Yes, recycling led through novel proprietary and patent pending process that it developed and named Aqua Refining.
Izzy saying, Ryan, what's your cost basis on Rocket? Izzy, I have calls. I have the March 15 calls, and my cost basis on those is $1.50. They're currently $2.31. I bought those calls when Rocket was in a 12 handle. I think it was like 1275, 1280. So had I have bought stock, that's what my cost basis would be. But the cost basis on the March 15 calls, cost basis is $150, current price $230.
SML advisory, SQQQ. I watch TQQQ and SQQQ whenever we get these big market moves. They tend to provide some pretty good trades, and I was just noticing that it had bottomed out around $19, and since then it's been trying to recapture some of the opening levels it had.
Have I actually, since around Liberation Day, where we were doing this like every day for what felt like a couple of weeks, and it was working, I've slowed down a little bit on that. Have you noticed the range or the distance from the VWAP change at all?
No, actually, there was one trade I did. I don't know if it was this week or last week, but I had posted about it in the happy hour chat because we were getting a really significant sell-off. Yeah, and we had gone over $1, Actually, I think we went to 125 exactly, which is where we was starting to pick up some shares. I don't think it went down as low as $1.50 away from VWAP.
Okay.
But it still hit that earlier amount, and it turned around and went up.
Okay, because I'm just wondering if now that we're past that, if those ranges are going to change a little bit, because the thesis for that trade is still intact. I mean, not too far away from the VWAP is fine, but I'm just wondering if there's any other values we can actually look for. I'll pay attention to it, though.
Okay. Uh-oh. EVOK, is that happening? And Crow's mentioning
it looks like it's curling. EVOK does look like it's curling, not yet at the VWAP at 731, but it is approaching that. One of the things, when I pulled this up here, my first thought was, well, gosh, we really want to see that volume expand a little bit. If we see any of these volume bars, especially on the 5-minute, grow or maybe even double up, maybe we can go higher here. Be looking at maybe a 9 handle on EVOK. This would actually mark for a pretty good setup. I haven't seen a whole bunch of great setups here today, but this one would be if this keeps going. Tuna here gave the level 627.
Yeah, EVOK right up to VWAP. 751 is what I have my VWAP at. Got the MACD starting to curl. No crossing yet, but like that's good. Come back up here. If we just can take out that VWAP, this may end up trading a lot better. Looks like we're also getting a bit of a turnaround in Shug P. That's still trying to recapture its VWAP. Seeing a turnaround in SOBR after hitting 411. Don't know we're going to see a turnaround in SBET quite yet. This looks like it could go on to lose the 16 handle still.
Hoth came in from that pop to 145 earlier. Proc might be taking on its VWAP.
MBio is volume's not great at MBio, but it's still hanging in there, going sideways, trying to go back up to VWAP. Yeah, so I guess EVOK was the one that we were just needing to pay attention to here. Looks like Aqua Metals, AQMS, that's getting a pull. That might be setting up a bull flag, to be honest. It can hold 78, 80 cents. Might be setting up for another move higher. What are we looking at?
I'm just looking around here, seeing if I see anything interesting. And Joe, you didn't see any news on Ideal Power, did you? Anything come across on that? Last 2 days have been pretty good, but it's been extremely low volume. I know the stock's thin. I'm just wondering if there's anything going on here that maybe I missed. No, I don't have. The last piece of news I have was from June 26 about its B-Tran device. But okay, yeah, I'm just wondering, just the second set of eyes, sanity checking me. That's all.
Well, because sometimes what I've seen happen is if I go back through some of these other PRs, there's sometimes a date in there referencing, a future catalyst, which is, and then it ends up being why the stock is moving sometimes. Yeah. I don't know if that's the reason why we're getting it today. Maybe there's some other reason. Let me look at the chart, see if there's anything I can draw from that. Could just be momentum. I mean, okay, so okay. This is a little interesting now because we did get a bit of a double bottom here in the price action on iPower, and we did try to come back up and recapture the 20-day SMA. Once we did that, we spent a couple of days between the 20 and 50-day SMAs, and then yesterday we had a breakout above it. So this
and today a breakout above the 100.
This may be some just momentum that we're seeing here. It looks to me like 550 is the next big level to get over, and on the way to the 200-day SMA. Yeah,
it's 611 there. That'd be great. That'd be great. I'd love to see some volume accompany this too. One of the things with this stock is with this being so thin, and just knowing somebody that owns a whole bunch of it, like I feel like if this thing has a real good piece of news, this could be easily one of these 200 or 300% gainers, but I just don't know if and when that's ever going to happen. And I've been waiting for that for a while now. Okay. Appreciate you looking into that though. Good stuff there on the chart. That double bottom does stand out pretty well there. Linda Yaccarino steps down as the CEO of X. Yacarino. That is a name. That is a wild name.
Musk having a bad week. Ex-CEO stepping down. He's not the CEO of X. I guess no. I don't know. I don't know that hierarchy.
Linda Yacarino is, yeah.
Okay, I don't know the hierarchy of that. Looks like
Elon tweeted 8 hours ago, quote, "Never a dull moment on this platform," end quote.
MBio coming up to VWAP again. There's a seller preventing upside at 350, 349, 350.
I've got 347 as the VWAP still on that one.
Maybe make Grok CEO. Didn't we get some troubling headline out of Grok this morning about how it praised Hitler?
Not good.
Nope.
I used Grok yesterday. I had some questions about engines and engine variants, and Grok was actually extremely helpful, and it didn't go off the rails at all. Tell you what, I seem to be using Grok more and more.
See people use Grok. See people use ChatGPT.
I use Grok and Perplexity. Grok mostly because it's right on my device since I use X, and Perplexity because I have the app on my Mac and in my taskbar. It's just super easy to use.
Should P halted to the downside again.
I think this one's done. That was a good call. Whoever said that's had a fork stuck in them.
MBio today is not the day, says Smoked Tuna. We also have some Gemini users here too. This market is a little sleepy, it seems, but EVOK still looks like this is trying to set up for some more upside. But still beneath its VWAP. Meanwhile, SQQQ almost back to the opening print. I think we almost. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't. I wasn't trying to interrupt you because I was just going to ask if I can ask a non-stock related question.
Okay, regarding what?
Regarding the show Love Island.
Don't know anything about it.
Me either. But I do see a lot of people mentioning it. Le'Veon Bell right now just tweeted, "Why is everybody talking about Love Island?" When I got my hair cut last night, the woman cutting my hair, she mentioned Love Island and that she, quote, watched too much of it, end quote. I'm just wondering what's going on there. It sounds to me like not something that I would enjoy. But again, sorry for the digression there. Just wondering. A lot of drama, says Samel. Okay. No wonder I don't know about it.
Yeah, it's probably just another one of those reality shows.
I'm about to tune out if you start talking about Love Island. That is from my producer. So that would be bad news.
Produce a better topic to discuss. Just kidding.
Oh my God.
Kidding.
Hold on. I love it.
All right, here we go. More moves here in EVOK. Nice.
Judge, take care of yourself. Good to see you here this morning, my man.
Yeah, he saw the writing on the wall. Take care. Judge.
Oh, Daniel, it's a dating show? Oh. Yeah, I wouldn't. Okay. I guess I should have guessed that by the name, but anyway. Anyway, that explains it.
I'm still not understanding why we are, subjecting ourselves to all these drama reality shows. I know that people like it; it's entertaining for them. I don't get it. I just don't. I guess
it's not something I get.
Some people looking at other people's drama, it's what they like. And here we go, EVOK trying to recapture VWAP right now. What's up?
Actually, the show is extremely disturbing, says Vivi. Okay, well, I'm glad I haven't seen it. Okay, real quickly here, we were just talking about Rocket briefly. Rocket is up 2% here today. I actually just got this from the National Mortgage Professional. Here, I'm going to throw this link in the chat for anyone that's interested in this. But here's what I'm looking at real quick. This is dated today. Mortgage applications up as rates keep heading down. Purchase demand climbs to the highest level since February of 2023. VA refis jump 32%. So mortgage applications. The data was adjusted to account for February and July. So this makes me wonder if this is affecting some of the housing stocks. This got sent to me by Felicia, by our real estate expert from Happy Hour. And that's making me wonder if this is why we're seeing some of these stocks higher here today. What's Zillow doing today? Yeah, look at Zillow. Zillow's up 2.7%. That was a nice move out of the open there on that.
We were talking yesterday about how we're getting mortgage data this morning. That came in at 7 a.m. We got the 30-year mortgage rate, mortgage applications index, purchase index. Looking at the prints, they're all above what the prior reads were. Yeah, every single one of them, and significantly higher. The expectation for the mortgage refinance index was 759.70. It turned out to be 829.30.
Okay, well, there's the catalyst for the move up in the housing stocks today. Felicia, if you're out there, shout out for sending that to me. I'm sorry I didn't get to this earlier, but this is great. Felicia's such a gem.
One that shines bright.
Yep, you got it.
EVOK still moving up here. It looks like this is in turnaround mode. Question is, can it hold above VWAP? What say you, Smoke Tuna?
Oh my God.
What's up?
Belinda Bencic beat Mira Andreeva in Wimbledon this morning. The 18-year-old that was just destroying people got beat. That is a surprise. Samel, did you watch any of that match? How was that?
EVOK, looking okay. Coming up to resistance here at about the 8, maybe slightly higher than 8. So if we get some resistance here, we'll look for a hold above VWAP. Looks like Shug P is open again, trying to stay above the 65 EMA. This might still go further down. This was that Hong Kong $11.5 million contract.
Okay. Edit, that small gene editor, that's actually still holding higher here today. I didn't see any specific thing on this. Yeah, still this hasn't had news for a bit, but did anyone else know, Izzy, I know that you said you saw some big SPX put come across. I haven't seen really anything. I don't have SPX as part of the data feed here, so I wouldn't have seen that specific one. But I haven't really seen a whole lot of, I almost want to say terribly interesting, unusual option trades here today. I guess this 2000 contract Pfizer put.
Way to keep it up. Keep it up.
Keeping it up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, Joe, those Connor McEnroe matches were... I've been watching tennis since I was just a little kid. Used to play when I was younger.
All right, EVOK coming up to some resistance now. See if it can go higher.
Shug P making a run at its VWAP right now. Yeah, Zach, you hold a couple of the gene editing stocks and they're all doing well. Yeah, that does seem like a sector that actually might be, part of me wonders if there's going to be more legs on that. Or in admin. We'll see.
What gene editing is like edit and CRISPR and those and whatnot?
Yeah, edit, CRISPR, NTLA. Those are the three that we generally look at.
Well, all right.
I haven't really seen anything new off of the relative volume scanner either recently. I guess Prime. Someone else mentioned this earlier. I never checked on it, but this is actually taking its next leg higher here.
No, but so the TQQQ and SQQQ, they basically just went right back to where they started this morning. Now they're in the pre-market consolidation. So we could potentially see some reversals here with those. Spec continuing lower.
Okay. I see. Yeah. This is actually almost $1 away now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks,
Smoke Tuna.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you as well.
And everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that comes here. Easy. Just be part of the best stock trading community out there.
We are getting some real market slowdown here.
Yeah, we sure are. So much for the waiting for the July 9. Rumble popping off the low on volume here.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so we're getting news on TikTok preparing U.S. app with separate algorithm and code base. There's no point in buying this if you're not getting the one that came with it. I think this is a joke. What an absolute scam. Sorry, this is just my thought on this, but if you're going to buy TikTok, you're buying what was originally making it TikTok. So if you're having a completely separate app with a separate algorithm, separate code base, what are you buying?
It's not TikTok. TikTok maybe?
No, it's a time bomb ticking away. I think this is just a scam. Sorry, unless you're buying the original TikTok with the original algorithm, the original code base. What are you buying?
I never trusted TikTok from day one.
Nope, I don't have it on my phone. Don't want to even have any.
Me either.
Use it. Scam to the end.
CLDI right back up at the highs.
Nothing that we were trading this morning is looking particularly great. And
Nope.
Bio still sideways. EVOK, that was great that we had a little move above VWAP, but that is coming back in now. There you go. That's a good one, Brian. But I don't want to continue dropping S-bombs on this channel here. Yeah, you certainly don't. Can you even get TikTok on a Xiaomi phone? They don't even allow that on in China. So I'm just kind of. Can you get one of those phones over there? You're in Spain, right? Is that right, producer? You let me know.
He is. I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm just looking for something that's got a good setup or anything here. Yeah, market manipulation. Of course. That's what we're seeing a lot of these days. Absolutely.
VIX holding here 1650, so the VIX did creep up a little bit here today. Crept up off of the opening low. It's actually still down 1.9% on the day.
Robert saying
oil right back to its pivot.
CLDI is halted up. What is going on with this? Jumping out of penny territory?
Yeah, this was the penny runner from earlier.
Oh, the cancer one? Okay.
It'd be interesting to see if this holds its gains or if it just gives it right back.
Let's look at a list of some larger names. Maybe there's something we can find in there. BMNR down to 45% on the day. That's not great. That's not great unless you're short it.
And that offering really smoked this thing, cut in half.
And everything is.
This did print 120 today, cut in half. Unbelievable.
Everything just down today. Lots of names that are down, big names that are down.
And indice flat right now. S&P flat, Dow flat. NASDAQ up 0.2.
Been riding the circle up and down all morning, a real roller coaster. That's what Joseph is saying, and that's what he's trading. Here we go with CLDI. This is about to push into some new session highs. We're really getting some selling in the SPY here too. Kind of want to see at 620 and 49-cent previous all-time high hold. We've been trying to keep that area for the past several days.
Smoke Tuno, I promise when I make it over across the pond there, we'll have some wine together. Red, of course.
Getting a mention on Estee Lauder. This coming off of the 49 $50, $49 bottom here. Looks like we have a golden cross about to happen pretty soon. Now, I don't know if we're going to see it this month. Maybe we do, but if we continue to trade up in this area above 80, certainly going to see it by August. Appears that $90 is a bit of a resistance area. You can see that back in last year on its way down. This is where it was starting to get some support in the low 80s and the $90 area. So still has some work to do to chew through all that. But if it does start printing higher, I think the next area of resistance is going to be at about just over 100, like 102, 103.
Brian, I'm a cab guy over a Pinot, but I think if I was visiting Smoked Tuna in France, I'd let him recommend something. He probably would recommend a cab. He'd probably have some French wine for me. That'd be my guess.
Okay, 8.
That was actually one of the better movers here today. And can you explain why Amazon moved up? Well, the Bezos news was that he was selling, not, I know it looks like a lot, but it's not really a lot. And he had very little left to do, and he was selling it for his wedding. It doesn't really look like that was a negative. Amazon just blew right through those sell areas. Those 223. Let me get you those values here again before we go to story trading. Real quick, where is that? 223.73 and 223.92 were the two sales spots on July 3 and July 7.
Yeah, let's not lose our hats on anything trying to force these trades. This doesn't seem like anything's really working at the moment, unless it's a bigger company. Maybe Tesla's having a better day. I don't know, but we got to get going here, or at least I do. We've got story trading coming, right?
We got story trading ready to go right after us.
All right, folks. Well, let's see if we can get some better trades from story trading. I'm sure that they've got some stuff lined up for us. But folks, till tomorrow, I will see you then. Make sure you stay green. Don't force trades, and keep yourself safe. I'll see you then. Take care.
All right. Sounds good. Your dad joke for today is what happens when a microscope merges with a telescope? You get a kaleidoscope. Okay. Enough of that. Let's go see how the story trading folks are doing. Here's Ben and Rhett. How you guys doing here today?
What's up? Doing all right. How you doing?
We're doing good, man. It's been an interesting week. Kind of slow right now, at least on our end. What do you guys see out there?
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough. We do have a bunch of stocks with relative strength we're going to go through, but I don't know if it's the market or maybe I've lost my mojo a little bit. The last couple of days, there's still a lot of stocks that are doing well on Catalyst, but it doesn't seem as predictable as it usually is for me. There's like some things like on what I consider to be weak catalysts, and they just explode and they're doing really well. And there's stuff on strong catalysts that are not doing well. So maybe I'm misjudging what's a weak or a strong catalyst, or maybe the market's just being strange right now. But I do have a bunch of relative stocks with relative strength we'll go over right now.
Okay, perfect. I'll get out of your hair. We'll see you in about 30 minutes, guys. Take care.
Right. All right. See you, Ryan. Morning, Godfather. Rhett, how you guys doing?
Morning, Ben.
So, yeah, look, I'm going to keep my macro comments very short because there's a lot of stocks I do want to talk about. But look, somehow the QQQ SPY and IWM are still up. Underneath it, it's been very hard the last couple of days. So I don't know. Whatever is happening, I think it's just consolidation, small pullback. I'm not concerned about the intermediate to long term. So I'm still doing what I do, the stock picking, looking for individual alpha, but it has been harder the last couple of days, at least for me. So, this morning was tough. I got chopped up in some of the wrong stocks this morning, but over the last hour or so, I've been moving to relative strength, and I have the relative strength stocks at the top of the list. So let me just go through some of these relative strength stocks. Godfather, did you want to have any macro comments at first before we do the stocks?
Yeah, so I'll keep it fairly brief as well. But clearly we're getting either into the seventh inning stretch or wherever you want to use your analogy. The things that we had pointed to before that were taking the market higher, like retail. Yeah, we continue to see record high margin debt. Institutions being offside, that looks like it's now played catch up. The latest NAAIM, National Association of Investment Managers. Stats show that they're basically back to fully weight. So with those two things in indices where they are seasonally. We're in this sort of first July where we get the strongest period of the weekend as we go into the summer here. So that could either happen starting the last 2 weeks of July, or it could happen, in August. And we start to get earnings season, of course, next week already, with a few dribs and drabs. And I think that the question on everybody's mind is, will reiteration of previous guidances, be enough given where we've seen the multiple stretch to? I think longer term, i.e., getting through this trough, which will show, perhaps some pull forward from tariffs and other things, we're going to be fine. And on top of that, you've got a southbound Fed in terms of interest rates. Presumably, you've got tailwinds from the big beautiful bill in terms of deregulation. You've got relaxing of the supplementary leverage ratio. You've got double-digit earnings revisions starting from Q3, right into 2026. So, yeah, look, I think you pointed out, Ben, that you wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback here to the 20-day moving average. But, in reality, as you said, the indices, we haven't even pulled back to the 9 yet. So,
yeah, it's underneath. It's the breadth that's a little bit poorer. Yeah, it's interesting.
I agree. And you look at where the performance has been, and the performance has been, in these sort of narrowly, at least from a trading standpoint, in these names that are characteristic of market froth and bull markets, i.e., these, crypto treasury names, for example. So, there really hasn't been much. Prior to that, there was, quite a bit of market fervor for, the HPC trade. I think, anticipation of getting some kind of evaluation metric for the sector out of course, CRWV deal. That's cooled a little bit. So, yeah, I think it's a good time to take down some of the speculative names, build some powder, and wait till you feel a little bit more direction to the market. I'm for the first time in a long time, I put volatility back up on my screen again, and we've crept back off of that 16 level, and I've got an eye on it. But look, the names that we have conviction in, I still think that given my view on the second half of the year, you can use weakness in the market to buy these names. You just need to do it patiently.
Okay, great. So let me go through some of these relative strength stocks, which some of them happen to be my biggest positions. So I'm still doing kind of okay with my biggest positions. It's just been those quick trades that I look for based off morning catalyst. Those have been harder for me. But take a look at this. I don't think this made the Benzinga show last week. When did this catalyst come in? I don't think it made it. But anyway, IINN. This has been a stock that's been on our watch list in our community for a couple months, thanks to one of our members. And they had what I think you have to describe as an inflection point catalyst here on July 2nd. Maybe it did make it to the Benzinga show. July 2nd was exactly the last one. Yeah, I'm not sure if I talked about it or not. But I've been in this since 95 cents, and I've been averaging up pretty aggressively. So this is a medical device company that had, in fact, let me show you Benzinga Pro. Does that work? There it is. All right. Benzinga Pro. Here we go. So we can take a look at the news here that I'm looking for. Let me get rid of INVZ. All right. Now we have II. And then here it is. Well, Wednesday, July 2nd, secures $22.5 million purchase order. Okay. That is massive for a company that's just now 38 million market cap. At the time, the market cap was around $20 million. But this is an inflection point catalyst by all accounts for this medical device company. I don't have time to go through everything that they do, but I've been averaging up since my initial entry of 95 cents. It's my largest position, and I think we could see a move towards $2. So you can see the relative strength in that stock today, holding its recent gains. Another one, Geo, a large position of mine now. Sadly, I have common shares and options, but I just sold pretty much all of my options like right before it popped, right here at 10 a.m. But I kept my common shares, and then I subsequently got back into some call options for next week because my call options expired this week, the ones I had, and I was up on them. So I'm like, all right, this market kind of rough. But anyway, look at the relative strength in Geo, and I think the bill passage was not priced in. With this bill passage, you have tens of billions of dollars to come into extra ICE detention centers. I have the number somewhere in my morning note, but I think it was like 45 or $40 billion. So I don't think that's priced into Geo or CXW, and you see the relative strength in the stock today is CXW as well, with Geo looking a little bit better this morning. So that's another place where I'm holding my entire position, at least the common share position, and got a little chopped up in the options, but got back into next week's calls. I think I got next week's $26 calls. So relative strength there. Another name, IMRX, which has just been exploding since their pancreatic cancer data, pretty much relentlessly. I noted this yesterday for a break above, must have been 383 or 387. Forgot exactly where it was. Maybe it was 4, but it broke a key technical level where you just have it's kind of a sky blue breakout to 450. So I've been saying for a couple days, 450 is your target. Hit 440 here, up 9%. It did have some patent news this morning that's helping it make the move towards 450. So I sold a little bit at 436, and I have another sell order in the 440s, hopefully as it approaches 450. So that's nice relative strength. And look at MSauce. I'm sure some folks on the Benzinga morning show were talking about MSauce. This is a very interesting price action with heavy volume yesterday, breaking over the 50 DMA. Nothing concrete yet in terms of cannabis legalization or rescheduling. But there's a lot of hope that this new Trump administration, and they're waiting for Terry Cole, I believe his name is, to get confirmed for the DEA. A lot of hope that once that happens, we can see a move towards some, legalization and see MSauce explode. So this took my attention yesterday, above the 50 DMA, heavy volume. Maybe someone knows something. So I added more MSauce yesterday along with some call options. VKTX, relative strength after a long period of consolidation, broke out of these resistance candles here. Maybe this can make a move towards 35. I was thinking maybe there's some buyout rumors that are going to be coming soon. I don't know, but I'm in VKTX. Now look at this stock this morning. I'm going to show you this on Benzinga Pro. By the way, I'm going to get you a coupon code for Benzinga Pro before the show is up here. But this is booking. New high of day, up 7.5%. I got in and out of this morning for a scalp, and then got back in when I saw the relative strength. This stock has just been insane. Gilt. Okay. I don't know, Godfather, if you had a chance to do the research on this, but I brought this up several times in the past month or so because they keep having what looks like crazy news. So there's some sort of like satellite space technology company up in Israel, in Israel. Look at these contracts coming through, and they're coming through at a ridiculously, ridiculous cadence. Really started in April, 23 million, 11 million, 15 million, 25 million, 40 million, 27 million, and another 22 million this morning. You add that all up and compare it to the market cap of 440 million, it seems like this stock could be much higher. Just a kind of a superficial fundamental analysis, the Godfather. I know you do it differently, but I've been looking at this, and very interesting. I'm not sure a lot of people know about it yet, but I'm in this currently. That's GILT. GSRT, I'm hoping it'll have relative strength.
I have not looked at it fundamentally. So
GILT, you haven't yet. Maybe Gilot Satellite, maybe one to put on the list because these orders are off the hook lately. GSRT, I've been in this, but I tripled my position this morning at $11. Hasn't worked out yet. At some point, this thing will be up 50% in the span of a week. I don't know what the trigger will be. I took a chance this morning thinking maybe this morning's news would be the trigger. And you can take a look at what that news is, but it's very undervalued compared to Oklo and SMR. So I'm pretty sure at some point, whether pre-deal or post-deal, there's a SPAC with an SMR company, that this will have a 50% run or something with a matter of a few days. Maybe not today. I thought it might have been today, so I got an 11. That's not working. And I think I'll pause there. If I have time, there's a couple other names maybe I'll talk about. But Godfather, Rhett, I'll let you go.
Yeah, another one I want to mention out too is earlier we were talking about is ASTS. It's bouncing off that nice key support level that I found a little bit ago.
40? It already went to 40? No, 42.
No, 42 if you go back and look on the daily.
I'm waiting for 40 on ASTS. If we get to 40, I'm going to be backing up the truck pretty heavy with call options probably.
Yeah, I'll probably follow you on that. I missed that opportunity. The other one I was in was QQQ puts, but I sold those way too early. Just flew, just
Oh,
tanked.
look at MSauce keep going. I'm in Tesla puts still. I was thinking that maybe Dan Ives would come and downgrade the stock today after Elon Musk told him to shut up yesterday. So we'll see. I think that still might be possible. Anyway, all right, Godfather, take it
Craziness
away.
happening with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of things. So I just pipe in a couple of fundamental notes on IINN. Yes. So if you assume that this $22.5 million purchase order is the only thing that they get for this year, and then you sort of fully dilute the capital structure and look at the enterprise value, you're just over 1 time, so about 1.3 times actually on an EV to sales basis, which is really inexpensive, I think. They teased that there's something going on at the government level with EU, and whether that's a nationwide buy of the product or rollout, it's tough to know exactly. But this contract that they announced also is a non-US contract, and that's the other lever that's or the shoe that we expect to fall here, is that this 100 machine, which is the one that they're currently selling, they've got several others in the pipeline searching for FDA approval, which are second half events, by the way. But the 100 machine has been in test with a number of high-profile U.S. hospitals for quite some time, in fact, 6 to 12 months in most cases. So I don't know exactly what the margin profile on these machines looks like, but it's clear to me that 22.5 million is sort of the low point. I think what you're seeing right here is there's 4.6 million warrants at $1.10 that are now in the money. And I suspect that those are getting exercised. It gives the company some nice cash, and in addition to $1 million on an ATM. So I would expect both of those things are sort of contributing, and longer term, both of those are positive. So yeah, I think fundamentally this thing looks very interesting, because we are both at an inflection point in terms of sales, and probably in getting that burn rate, close to break even.
And I want to add, I did a lot of research last night on the products itself, and the company. Listened to the CEO on a couple of videos, and this is really, they're trying to be a disruptive company. If they're successful, now there's initial product, the ART 100 they're selling is $1 billion TAM. As you said, it's very undervalued, but that device in itself, I don't see it as a disruptor. But the ART 500, which they're working on getting FDA approval for, that's a disruptive device in a $19 billion TAM that can largely replace ventilator use in hospitals. I mean, this is a very exciting company that has a potential to one day have a multi-billion-dollar market cap, especially if they're successful with the ART 500 device. So, that's a kind of your optionality upside. So we're talking about a low valuation plus optionality upside, which is why I made this currently my largest position.
So one other name that I think is worthy of some attention here is MBAV.
Right.
MBAV. And this is a SPAC that's getting into the crypto treasury game. And the reason I mention it, and look, this is a bull market phenomenon. It does not make sense long term to own these names. I mean, if you're collecting SOL or ETH in a crypto treasury to stake it, the best you're going to do is getting sort of 5 to 7% yields. If you want exposure to the underlying, there's lots of vehicles by way of ETFs or levered ETFs to give you that. So, but look, we'll dance when the market is playing, or when the music is playing, and enjoy the party, but stand close to the door on these names. The reason I think that this one is potentially interesting is because it has some very, very high profile names attached to it, similar to what we saw with BNMR and similar to SBET. Now, these guys are putting together a crypto treasury that includes both Bitcoin, Solana, as well as Ethereum. And their board of directors includes Wilbur Ross, the former U.S. Commerce Secretary, a billionaire in his own right. The head of strategy for Coinbase. You've got the co-founder of Tether is the CEO. Is part of the board here. The former CEO of Hut 8 is running this thing. and it's a big name. It's going to be big, just like SBAT is. When I say big, I mean size-wise. So there's 200 odd million in the current treasury of the SPAC, assuming no redemptions. They are going to add to that 500 million in a pipe deal and another 250 in a convert deal. And this has all been already subscribed for by institutions. And what we saw when SBAT went from under 450, or I guess they did their deal at 455 and went all the way up to 120, is they were able to raise the money, buy the Ethereum, get the market excited, but the pipe hadn't yet cleared. So you have a structural, supply demand in the most favorable way possible. Lots of high-profile interest in the name, lots of demand created by retail, but the folks that got the financing at 455 hadn't yet been able to sell. So you could see a similar type situation on MBAV. Again, it's just pure market mechanics, one to watch, and for that reason.
A wealth of useful information there. I did follow you into MBAV, but mostly simply because it was just the latest, newest, crypto treasury stock, which hasn't exploded yet, and the news was proximal, right? News came yesterday morning. So that's why I got into it, but that was very interesting information you gave about who's involved and everything. So,
but you want to be very, very quick on these things, as you can see in the price action on BMNR today. These are names where you rent gains. So, keep that in mind. And I would also caution on guys playing the crypto treasury names. Yes, you can get nice one-day returns like we saw in BTCS yesterday. But, all of these names, which are all sort of Me Too names and, trying to throw 100 million or whatever it happens to be out there to raise some money, they're just not going to become proxy vehicles at that size. And it's a crowded space. I mean, my list that I share with our Discord grows every day, and it's now close to 30 names.
Yeah,
so,
that's crazy. It's very crowded.
Careful.
And IMRX breaking out high day 441. I have a little bit of this in my long-term account as well. We've talked about this at Benzinga before. Pancreatic cancer, really good data. Moving towards phase 3 next after good phase 2 data. So, wow, exciting move.
Another biotech name that's showing some relative strength.
You're breaking up. You
talked about ad nauseum is Capricorn.
You totally rubber banded there.
CAPR.
Okay, CAPR.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
There's relative strength in the stock today. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I do. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I really think the market's telling us something here. So again, these guys have a PDUFA date for July 31, which is coming up. This is a therapeutic that's received every single possible exemption from the FDA already. There is some concern, given the changeover at the FDA, whether this AdCom meeting is going to happen or not happen. At this point, there's been very little talk about it. So all we've got to do is sort of read between the lines in the price action. And, I really do think the market's telling us something at this level. So I personally am in calls on this out to September. I think you want to be well beyond that July date, which could get pushed back. This name deserves to be on everybody's radar screen.
Nice. Yeah, very strong price action today on Capricorn. All right, you got anything else? If you don't, I can keep going.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll SPCB. This is really disappointing over the last month or so, but it's perking up now. 3 days in a row, some relative strength, trying to get above the 20 DMA. I did slim down my position a little bit over last month just because of opportunity costs, but I still own a position, and maybe finally, it'll buck the market trend when everything else is correcting. Maybe this will finally make its move above the 20 DMA and back towards 11 to 12. But then there's another one that looks very, very undervalued and getting crazy contracts constantly in the device, monitoring. What do you call it? Risk? Is it risk monitoring? How do they do it? What's that thing called? GPS monitoring for people who are not quite in prison, but you want to keep an eye on. So that's SPCB. Interesting relative strength there. We got Berna ER tomorrow morning to keep an eye out on. I own it long term. Not sure if I'm going to play any for earnings, but we're going to look at that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I expect it to be a strong quarter. I'm also not adding trading shares for this quarter. Whenever stock is bouncing pretty close to 52-week highs going into the quarter, I'm not sure it provides a great near-term risk reward, but I do expect the numbers will be solid. This is not an inexpensive stock. It's never been an inexpensive stock, but for that reason, who knows exactly where expectations are in the market, and you could get some pullback, but this is exactly the type of stock that you do buy on a pullback.
Yep.
So that's how I'm playing Berna going into the quarter.
I don't know if it's my internet connection or somewhere else, but I don't know, my screen keeps flickering on and off. I don't know what's going on.
Actually, it's me, guys. I'm sorry about that. When I connect and disconnect my VPN, it apparently adds me and my screen share back. So I'm sorry about that. That was not intentional.
No problem. Yeah, by the way, here, good interlude here. I promise you guys a Benzinga Pro code. If you don't have Benzinga Pro, it's great. I like it for news feeds, but there's a ton of other features there, and calendars and watch lists and scanners and all kinds of stuff. But on the annual plan, you can save 55%. It's Story Trading 55. So the coupon code is Story Trading 55. Just go to Benzinga Pro. You can sign up there. We could use, if you're in our Discord, we could use a few people who are subscribers to that to help us curate that newsfeed that comes in like a fire hose in the morning, throughout the day, in the afternoon. I can't handle it all. I do my best, but I definitely can use a few eyeballs on the newsfeed over there at Benzinga Pro. So it's Story Trading 55 is the code for that. All right. What else do we got going? This MSOS is really interesting, man. Nice price action going down my list here.
More things with Elon just came out.
Yeah, what
the
happened?
top X boss, Linda, she quits.
Yeah, I saw that. Quit
Saw
X.
that.
I saw that like half hour ago or so. I'm not sure what that means necessarily. People will read into it, be like, yeah, Elon's unhinged, I'm leaving. Okay, you can think that if you want. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But we'll see, man. There's been a lot of turmoil and a lot of controversy around Elon Musk and Tesla and politics. Personally, I sold some of my long-term shares for the first time yesterday. I don't know. Did I change, or do I have the right read? Rhett, maybe you can help me out. But when he said "shut up" to Dan, after Dan Ives was recommending like some board oversight, I'm like, that's a little bit too far for me. I don't know. Like, Dan Ives is like one of the biggest advocates for Tesla stock, and is giving these recommendations and saying, "Shut up, Dan." Even if it's not, I'm not saying for ego reasons that Dan Ives has to come and say, "Oh, I'm downgrading you," but if the whole thesis was in order for Tesla stock to hold up or do well, you need to do X, Y, and Z for board oversight, and then the CEO kind of completely dismisses you on that, then Dan Ives might be like, okay, well, if you're not doing those things that's needed, then maybe I got to downgrade the stock. So I took some put options in Tesla yesterday, and man, the thing dove at some point in the afternoon. I don't know if it was for that or another reason, but we'll see. I think there is a possibility Dan Ives will come out and downgrade this, and if he does, you'll see the stock down 10% in a day.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I have the same take as you on this. So
first time I sold shares in my retirement account. I like the guy a lot, and I like Tesla, and I like his companies and everything, but it feels like he might need an intervention right now or something. I don't know. It's a little bit off the rails. He might be a little. He might be a little bit. He might be a little crazier than Trump. I don't know. Anyway, look at this relative strength. Also, it's SPRO, my second largest position. So my two largest positions are hanging in there just fine today. IINN at 0.34%, SPRO at 1.7%. I am hoping to wake up. This is just free money, man. The risk reward is so good here. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum probably on this show, so I'm not going to go through it again. But the downside is very limited if there's downside at all. And then you can wake up one morning to GlaxoSmithKline buying them out for at least $3.50, maybe more. So I really like this one. This was my largest position until I kept adding IINN. Are you in this at all, Godfather, SPRO?
I have that small tag in position from when we first got into it, and I've been waiting for the market to give me a signal to be compelled to add, and I just I haven't seen that.
You don't feel compelled. You don't feel compelled to add.
Well, relative to some of the other stuff going on and where we're at in the market, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there's been an
I'm
opportunity
watching
cost because it's been hanging up there in the high 280s, 290s, doing nothing, consolidating. But I just love the risk reward here. There's been massive buyers, by the way. You're talking about 1 million, 2 million share bids, 500,000, 800,000 share bids, and they're getting filled. I don't know who's selling to them, but there's obviously one or more institutions that have been buying. By my estimation, probably 10 to 20% of the outstanding shares of the company have been bought by one or more institutions since the news, and they're still on the bid. Last night, there was like another 700,000 share bid at 290. So I feel very safe owning this, and I expect the buyout hopefully pretty soon. Nothing is
it's
guaranteed.
clearly under accumulation.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that firm break above 3. And for
I
for
hope
retail
they
to come in
sell.
and-
I hope
and
they
chase
hang
it
up
higher.
their business and just collect the royalties and dividends. But there's always the chance, Ryan, I'm almost done. Always the chance they say, "Oh, we're going to take this money and acquire some other company, to keep the grift going or whatever." I hope they don't do that. That's the risk, I think. But
I was going to say, I'm back for real this time. Really quickly before we send you guys off for this week, can I get a quick yay or nay from the three of you on the America Party?
can I refuse to answer? I don't know.
Yeah, you can. You could say I don't know. You can punt on it. That's fine.
I'm going to punt on that one, right?
I don't know. I'm wishy-washy on that one.
Punt? How about Godfather?
I think I have the only real legitimate reason to punt, and that's that I'm Canadian. So
You know what? Bonus points for that. That's actually
the other guys need good excuses.
That's actually perfect. All right, guys, really good stuff today. Way to get stuff done in a day that really kind of felt slow. We'll see you guys next week. Okay.
All right, I'll see you. Take care.
All right, that is Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather. Good stuff there on the America Party. At least worth a laugh there, folks. I'm going to send you over to Kevin and Futures Fever next here. Sit tight. You don't need to go anywhere. Stay green. Stay safe. Stay focused. We'll see you tomorrow. Take